Live. I'm pretty sure we're live. Yeah, we're live now.
Let's go with my damn studious look.
Right. Well, good evening, good day, good afternoon. Oh man, another one after a long hiatus. USFL presents the Owner's Box. Myself, the host, Marc Gates, and my co-host to your right of your screen. I'm pretty sure it's hopefully to the right of your screen. Ty, the Giants owner. Welcome back, good sir. You see, I've been on a grind. Last time I had a haircut. Now back on the grind again. I had to move, man, to this new house and do a bunch of work on this new house. So.
You know what? I'm glad you say that because I was gonna say something in the chat today. I'm definitely appreciative of the fact that folks really enjoy the show, which is why they asked for it. But sometimes, man, guys crack jokes. What's the owner's box? I forgot, and this, that, and the third. Hey, man, y'all don't understand that. Me and Gates are trying to do this in conjunction with having a life, in conjunction with having a family, in conjunction with going to work, in conjunction with playing our games. It's a 2.5 to 3 hour commitment. I mean,
yeah.
He's got to set the show up. He's got to maneuver around the little ones and the wife, etc.
When you're 3 hours behind, that's another. Yeah,
exactly. And we trying to do it from 2 different time zones. So, I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like I said, I appreciate that everybody liked the show, which is why they asked for it. I'm not saying don't ask for it, but like understand that that's why sometimes we can't always knock one out the box. This is, for the most part, taking place on a Saturday. I mean, hell, it's hard enough to schedule with half of y'all. Let pop off and talk smack about me and Gates not doing the show. Half of y'all, it's hard to get y'all to play a game for an hour. You asking me and Gates to, get this together on a Saturday of all days for 2 or 3 hours. So just bear with us sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Man, we haven't done one like before. The last one we did was like right before the playoffs started. So let's just I think we got a lot to talk about. So let's just jump into the season recap, man. Starting from the playoffs, how do you feel about the playoffs? Well, let's go season, right? Let's just real quick. Let's do season, right?
I can do both.
Yeah,
I'll start with the season.
Go ahead.
Everything I said in season 1 kind of held up for season 2. I mean, it's real easy to come out the box in season 1 when the game's fresh to everybody and kind of catch some people off guard and kind of do some damage. But eventually, the cream rises to the top. So at the end of the day, the folks who consistently have shown they can play Madden at a higher level year in and year out, eventually they're going to continue to get better and the flashes in the pan are going to fall off. And I think you kind of started to see that a little bit in the second season. The playoff teams did a wonderful job of maintaining their consistency from season 1 to season 2. I thought we had good participation by a lot of people. I thought all of the playoff races were competitive. I mean, you had 2 teams in the AFC making it at 9-7 with a bunch of teams on their heels for that 5th and 6th spot. And then conversely, you had me over on the NFC side at 9-7, and I didn't even make the playoffs, which spoke to the competitive nature the competitiveness on the NFC side. So going to season 3, I expect the same. The playoffs, very good. A lot of the owners in there, they had good seasons. They played well. Dre did a hell of a job trying to defend his title. He eventually lost to the Super Bowl winner Bucks. Bucks capped off a hell of a season, was consistent with what he was doing from start to finish, and just fell short to Candy. And Candy had a hell of a season. He was kind of, believe it or not, as good as he was. He was under the radar a lot. There wasn't a lot of conversation about him in the second season, but he did what he always does. Maintain his consistency, quietly do his thing, not chirp and make a lot of noise from the sidelines, and he came up and did his thing. Really happy and surprised to see Paya make a run. We don't know what that's in him, but normally he gets caught up in the, well, I can't play a game because it doesn't kind of fit my timetable. So to see him kind of make a run surprised me. To be honest, Gates, his victory against you, it really kind of surprised me. And it's not And don't get me wrong, when I say surprised me, it's definitely not because he's a lower caliber player. But we talked about it before. Your team was loaded for bear. You had a tight window. You had to make a run. You made a serious run in season one. So to see you kind of first round get bounced, and then by that score, I was really, really surprised.
The second round, because I had the bye week. So.
Well, I mean,
my first round, yeah, for sure.
Right.
My first round.
You're not typically a one and done, so that was kind of surprising. But props to Packers. I mean, Paya, so you see him being Packers. He's in the same scenario. Loaded team, a lot of cap, had to make a run, and he did. On the NFC side, was good to see Bone kind of back in the saddle. I thought he played a hell of a game against Skills Bucks. Flex quietly, another quiet man, but he's been consistent in the playoffs. Mo made an appearance back in the playoffs. So just overall, good stuff. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think the season, I think the year was really good. By far, I think the Bucks improved a lot as far as with Jameis Winston. You know, I remember there was a time where people were like cutting him and releasing him. I mean, he didn't turn him around, gave him some abilities. Candy did what he was supposed to do, or, you know, what he normally does. That's why I feel like he went under the radar 15-1. It was like he almost went, you know, undefeated year one. So surprisingly, you know, Cletus did his thing. I thought that Don Joe would give him a little bit more competition than he did, you know, being as though they met in the playoffs in the first year. But Green Crack did win more games, so that was pretty cool. I don't know what happened to the Chiefs. He like completely fell off. Well, not fell off, but the run that he had.
He's a college student, and I think like his schedule. I think he's really big into the sporting events. I know he's big on his Jayhawk basketball and stuff like that. So I think maybe that college life, I mean, it kind of got to him. If you think about it, that's the same thing that happened to Sype Squad. That's why he in the league this season.
Yeah, for sure. And then, unfortunately, last time I talked to Sean, I know he had said something happened with his son. Take him to the hospital, and then I don't know if he's still around or what. He's been on all the while, so.
Who?
Strong.
Oh, you know what? I can't call it, but I kind of felt like when Rico, I think Strong has never really kind of 100% been into the game this year so far. Yeah. I know he runs a league with Rico, and I think when Rico bounced, I kind of knew it was only a matter of time before Strong would follow.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, then there's that. I think Rel shocked me with a good win against Paya in late in the season. On the NFC side, NFC West, hands down the best division of the year. With Dre going one loss, and then the Rams and the Seahawks both going 10-6. It's hard for the Cardinals to really do their thing, you know, when the other three teams in your division are playing like that. It was good to see that Mo won a division. You were right on his heels, a game or two away from that. I don't know what happened to the Redskins. You know, he was red hot, a moondog with at the point where they were red hot year one. Now they're like ice cold year two. Unfortunately, we did lose Rico, which now I think opens up the division all the way up for the Bucks, as the Saints and Panthers haven't got it together yet. As far as the playoffs go, man, all the games in the playoffs are really, really close games. Like a possession or two away could have turned them. Except, you know, my game, Paya played. That's the best he's ever played, to be honest with you. At least against me, anyway. I mean, he played it no better. Hats off to him. Then he almost beat Candy in the AFC Championship. You know, I mean, if he beats Candy, in my opinion, he would have won it. You know, not to say anything from the NFC side. It was just like his team was just like nothing was stoppable at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because it was hard to stop him again on my side of the ball. So,
you know what's funny is I think it was Boone I was talking to. You know, low key under the radar. I mean, the first season, the Bucks kind of didn't have that good a roster, so it was really outstanding what he did. But second season, everybody talked about your roster and they talked about Paya's. Hey, the job that the Bucks did in building up that roster, that's a roster that flies under the radar. I mean, he's got the running game with whoever. Jameis Winston was perennial up for MVP. Mike Evans, throwing it up to that dude, was a beast. And then on defense, the additions of Jalen Ramsey and Minka. So it's not like he had a trash squad.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's easily most improved. Easily. Whether with skill and the roster. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, my gameplay, I thought it was literally the same. I just think he had the personnel and that.
yeah, but I mean,
That
he figured out. Like, he figured it out too, as far as like running that spread, majority wide, all
that gun 5 wide, empty cowboy.
Yeah. He was running like 2 empty sets the whole season, like back and forth between 2 empty sets, which is a high risk, high reward, right on both ends. Like,
well, yeah, it is. It's funny because really watching a lot of his gameplay down the stretch, especially in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to deal with single back ace, and when he comes out of that, he wants to run toward the left, and if not, he wants to take his play action shots up top. And if he gets in trouble, anything that you would consider a long situation, anything out past 5 yards, he's getting in that gun empty cowboy. He's going to spread you out. Yeah. He loves the slots in the left, right. He's looking at tight end on the right slot first. Yeah. He's looking at slot receiver on the left first. And if you got both of those bottled up, he'll take his shots from time to time on the outside edges with Evans. So I had that pretty well scouted in terms of what was going on.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Like, because we ended up playing right after that in like the UG game. So I seen it. And you got to decide, like, you got to blitz that, or you try to coverage that. It's high risk, high reward on both sides.
That's so damn true, and it's funny because I was sometimes, just the coach and us watching people play or watching the game. Immediately, I put myself in that situation of what I would do, and I know I played Bucks in season 1. I got him again this season, but I played him in season 1, and I tried to blitz that damn 5 wide, and it wasn't happening. So you're right. You got to pick and choose what you want to do with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he made a great run to the Super Bowl. It was actually a really good Super Bowl to the third quarter, and then the second half, it was really good the whole way. But Candyman adjusted, figured it out. Unfortunately, Bucks couldn't adjust as well, and Candyman ended up getting the Super Bowl. Overall, I think it was a great season, very competitive season. And then, be really exciting going into this year, this third year. How do you feel about the offseason and the moves and stuff that were made as far as free agency first?
It was a weird free agency because I feel like there was some talent out there. At the same time, it wasn't a deep free agency. I feel like it was clearly like the starter day one type guys that you could put on the roster right here, right now. It's going to make an impact. And then you kind of really had the mind for talent. Like I thought the cornerback pool was shallow, but the person that really jumps out to me, there's 2 people I feel that really head and shoulders above all else, and it's not even close, had the best free agencies. Well, 3. Okay, number 1, Niji. Man, the Lions, he wound up putting Golladay out there, but he wound up getting Golladay, getting Jones, and while Jones might have lost a step, it's like A.J. Green. Good luck throwing at that guy. He might not be as fast, but he still is dominant. So adding A.J. Green, getting Golladay back, and then getting Sammy Watkins over there, and then on top of that, turning around with Cletus and pulling off the trade for Jamison Crowder and Le'Veon Bell, like on offense, that guy's loaded for bear, which, man, phenomenal offense.
To that, like, and that's the cool thing. Like, that's really what it's designed for, right? Like, because he had a bad season, and he now has the cap space. He's supposed to reap all the benefits from that. You know what I'm saying?
And you hit that right on the head. So he did. You're exactly right. That's why to me sometimes when we have people that are consistently bad season after season, year after year, I kind of don't get it. Because if you think about it, if you're consistently bad, you at least always in the top 10 for draft picks. You typically don't have a ton of talent on those teams, which is why one of the reasons along with gameplay why you're bad. So between having a consistent top 10 pick and then also consistently having cap space, I don't understand how there's no improvement with some folks. But, it is what it is. He had a really good offseason. Damn it, I forgot who. There was another person I thought that had a really – Don Joe. Now, it's funny, right? A lot of people do this, and don't get me wrong. But I'm old school. Nobody's doing nothing wrong. But Don Joe, there's certain people that's the master of the I'm going to switch and bait. I'm going to act like I'm bidding on the dude. When somebody else jumps on, I'm going to jump off so the price doesn't get driven up. But then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to count my seconds down right before advance. And then I'm going to put a bunch of big bids on people. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, it's strategy. But for me personally, I've always thought that's some suck-ass shit. And I'm going to clarify this. Okay, That doesn't mean I'm saying Don Joe's a sucker. That's why, dude, that strategy is some sucker shit. It's like somebody talking shit to your face. You confront them, you get up in their face, and you're like, hey, what's good? We got a problem? Oh no, everything is good. All right, then I turn around and step off and I get sucker punched. That's the equivalent of that shit. Like, man, the fuck up, make your bid, and come on. But I'm saying that because I'm old school. Yeah. The strategy is good. I get it. Yeah. I know why people do it, but he had a hell of an offseason. I played him.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because I think of it like an auction, right? Like me and you at an auction.
Yeah.
You put your money up. I put my money up. We going back and forth. You like you say something like, "I bet 100,000." It's like, I can't bet that. Going once, going twice. A million. You know what I'm saying? Like a million. It's like, yo.
Yeah, but that shit is calculated though. Like I'm more about like straight up shit. Like, man, the best man win. Ain't nobody gonna outbid that dude. He's got more money than anybody else. Now, don't get me wrong. Just because he's got more money than anybody else, I get where he's coming from in terms of I don't want to overpay for people. But at the same time, bro, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't care for that strategy, but it's smart and there's gamesmanship in it, and I get it. So there's a lot of things I don't care for. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. I just personally don't care for it. But I get it. That being said, it was effective. I mean, that dude went from one of the not worst rosters. Honestly, while we on Don Joe, I'm gonna tie all this up. You said you thought he'd be more competition for Cletus. Mm-hmm. Here's my thoughts on this. I don't think Don Joe's found his identity yet. And here's what I mean. Don Joe builds a certain way every year. This year, I feel like he'll acquire talent, he'll take a bad loss, he'll rage cut people, or he'll decide he doesn't want to pay their contracts, and he'll cut and let a bunch of people go. And it's like, okay, I'm not getting it. Like, Cletus is consistently building every single season. So you need to figure out, if you're Don Joe, what you want to do, how you want to build your team, and then stick with that formula and do that. But the season before, he had cut, I think, Dak Prescott. He cut Albert Wilson. He had cut Levante David, I want to say, at one point in time. So curious what he's doing. This year, he picked up J.J. Watt. He picked up 2 or 3 other people. He's got a nice roster. Got Darius Slay out of free agency. He had a really damn good free agency. Those are the 2 people. And then last but not least, I mean, he didn't have the sexy signings, but I think when Jacksonville came into the league taking over Cyber Squad's team, he was in cap hell. He made a lot of trades. He cut a lot of people. But when you combine free agency and the draft, this dude had a shit ton of draft picks.
Yeah, he did.
And he really turned that whole team around. And he didn't get necessarily the super sexy top tier free agent dude, but he got real solid dudes like Zay Jones and dudes that are damn solid. They can play on any roster. They might have the biggest names, but he went from gutting that team to flipping the entire team in one season. And
that's the cool thing about it. Like, that's what it's designed for. Like, you have all that cap space. He came in, figured it out. He must have like 12 draft picks, right? He had like almost 2 draft picks every round. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He ended up getting, in my opinion, the best player in the draft, which was that defense tackle who I was going to try to get had he made it to 28. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I agree. I think Lions had a great offseason. The offense had a great offseason. Now, when you talk about like building your team, right? My question to you is, how do you build? Like, for me, I build my team, in my opinion, to win my division, right? Or at least to compete in my division. Because if I win my division, I'm automatically in the playoffs. Do you take that same type of approach?
Yes, I do. The way I build, I've always said exactly what you're saying, and I agree with that. You have to build for your division. Like, going back to when Mayor Wop used to be in the East with me, that dude was going to sit there and routinely get a pair of 96, 97 speed wide receivers, and he was going to throw it up all day. So if I'm knowing that and I got 90 speed cornerbacks, inevitably I have to get corners that can stay with his guys. So that was just an example. Yes, I build for that. I build 2 ways. A, I build for my division, and B, I build in a way that complements the way I like to play the game. If I want to air it out, I need pieces that can assimilate to that style. So that's the two ways I build.
Okay.
First, second to complement the way I want to play.
For sure. Now, what about the rookies? Like, what rookies are you looking forward to seeing this season, in this year 3? Like, anybody?
You talking about players? Like,
yeah, players. Like, as far as like people who draft, like for example, like Bill took the number 1 quarterback. He took that quarterback at number 1, and in my opinion, I think that was a good pick, right? That kid won the Heisman. It was only 2 good quarterbacks. I think he really he utilized that pick, very well.
I think it's funny. I was talking to Cletus about this earlier. What flew under the radar, because everybody was so wrapped up in that quarterback, was that dude turned right back around at like pick 8 and got maybe the best tackle in the draft to protect that quarterback's blind side. So to me, that combo of that quarterback to replace Big Ben and start a new era, and then the tackle, I thought that was a 1-2 punch for your ass right there.
Yeah, and he has Connor, right? James Conner, who I feel like he should get more involved because he only had 700 yards last season. Bill should have no more excuses now, right? In my opinion. Now, of course, Browns are super stacked or whatever, but you now have the pieces. You got the Juju kid who has superstar abilities, X factor. James Carter he had wrecking ball and arm bar and the bulldozer ability. You got this quarterback who's a superstar. He's hitting irrelevant, but he's a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, great right tackle. I mean, he already had a solid defensive line. You got great linebackers. You got that great cornerback last year in the draft. There should be no more excuses now in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
And then we're in season 3, so he's had 2 seasons to kind of work on the way he wants to play.
Yeah.
He also plays in UG, so really going into this season 3, he's got 3 full seasons of gameplay under his belt, style-wise, and now he's got the pieces. So yeah, there should definitely kind of, at the very least, there should be a pretty significant improvement.
For sure. I'm not saying you have to win a division, but number 2, because it's going to be tough beating the Browns twice, but number 2 for sure should be yours. You and Rail should be battling out. Prime, I know, is still putting some pieces together, because of his schedule, and, he didn't even get a chance to draft and all that, but, I mean, Bill for sure should make a great run. Who else got some good, solid player? I think Jacksonville, man, I would like to see how his players run because he had some really good picks in that draft.
I thought the draft, honestly, I don't think it was really deep in talent in terms of big flash in a pan potential. But what I did like was I felt there were a lot of hidden devs in this draft. Cletus got 3 and I got 3. That's just really him.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we ain't special in anomalies. I'm sure quite a few people got a lot of hidden devs. Now I'm kind of torn on that because like one of the dudes I got this hidden dev is like a 60 overall. So it's kind of like, okay. I mean, short of the guy being an X factor or superstar, it's still going to take a shit ton of work to build this guy up. I guess at least if they've got a higher depth trait, you could do it a little quicker.
Yeah.
I have a lot of announcements tied to this offseason about things that we discussed in the commission chat. We had like a 3-hour conversation the other day about a bunch of revamps and things that we've seen in the league and things that we're looking to limit and things that we want to try to improve upon as the league goes forward. So I tried to get Bill to hop on because I thought he was going to do it earlier, and he said he kind of wasn't. The wife had just got in, and he needed to have some family time. So he asked me to kind of run these things down. I'm going to try as best as I can to remember everything. I know I'm not. Inevitably, we're going to have to put something in the chat that kind of outlines what we went through so people know and have an idea. So since we're on the off season, I can kind of get into that whenever you want to.
Go ahead, yeah. I mean, we might as well do it right now.
I'm looking at Rams. Don't sleep on my call. I've seen Bucks had a comment earlier, but I didn't get to see what it was.
We broke down the breakdown we had on his team and all that. He said it was a good breakdown.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. A few things. So one of the things, and everything that I'm going to discuss, either A, it's going into the rules before the season starts to amend the rules with the right verbiage. Or if it's something that's brand new, we'll probably look at one point in time to put something in the chat to kind of remind everybody. So where do we start? Okay. One of the things that the commissioners are watching are the commissioners and myself had discussed, and we really want to try to emphasize sportsmanship in the league, and we really want to try to create more competitive balance. So I know one of the things that's under fire is these consistent 60 and 70 point efforts that's sprouting up over the league, and typically it tends to kind of be the same people. And this has been like an argument as long as I've been a commission, even years before I was a commission, in terms of, okay, like at what point is enough enough? Like you're up, you won 70-14. But before you got to that score, you was up 30-14, you was up 40-14, you got up 50-14, even at 60, like you didn't think from a sportsmanship standpoint, hey, that's enough. It's a really complicated conversation. There are multiple pieces here. And this year, with the X factor and with goals, it kind of almost forces you sometimes to try to do something that may be against the rules that you shouldn't do in terms of pushing it. Like we've all seen these goals. Hey, your tight end needs to have 200 yards receiving or 10 catches and 4 touchdowns. Well, I can see how if it's 50-14 and you're just short of making that goal, somebody's going to take that shot. That being said, the commissions as a whole don't feel that that's in the best interest of the league. So I cannot at this time remember the exact verbiage, but there are a few things that are being discussed to limit those scoring outputs. And I know one of them that I don't recall how the vote went or how we're going to wrap that up, but I think one of the things that's being looking at is an automatic mandatory true clock scenario at a certain point in time in the game, so that people just can't keep putting up 80 and 90 points a game. So there will be something coming about trying to put a cap on that scoring. You can call that the Bucks rule.
Before you go, can I ask you something about that? Like, should a person like myself, because I've scored 70 on somebody, 77 actually, I scored 77 on somebody. Should I have to, because I put the work in, right? Should I have to be penalized for that? Like, should I, if you know? And I understand what you're saying. Like, I'm dominant. I'm for sure dominated, right? I get it. I totally get it. But if everything's just working, I mean, I feel like, dang, you keep capping me. Or let's say the automatic chew clock, is that on both ways? Like, or because I'm up by so many points, I have to automatically chew and the other guy doesn't?
One of the scenarios that's being looked at is both ways.
Okay.
It's not being looked at one way. Now, to answer your question, that's hard for me to answer, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm an owner / coach just like you, right?
Yeah.
So there's New York Giants, Coach Ty, my competitiveness and how I see that, and then I got the commish admin hat on. Sometimes they don't both align. Because if we're being frank, I agree with you, and I was one of the proponents against it. However, as an admin team, we are a committee. So we typically tend to vote on things. So I can vote all day long to keep something in place, but if enough people feel the other way, and it's a fair process, I got to go with that flow. So I see the argument both ways.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, hey, man, we all put that time in. It's a game. We're here to have fun. It shouldn't necessarily be my fault somebody else is not able to stop me, etc. I heard all those arguments. I get it. I also get the other argument for, hey, man, can you not win 50-14? Like, that's just not good enough. 50-14.
Yeah.
Like, why do you feel the need to drop 75?
Right.
Like, so I see it both ways. That's why.
Because the losing team is like, remember, we have to, I don't know if it's still in play, but we had the mercy rule, right? Or the top of the fourth quarter, you could choose to concede. Is that still a thing, right? Or no?
Yes, it is.
Right? So that's that. And then if I'm losing 50-14, should not also chew the clock. Like, yo, it's getting out of hand. Let me just.
These are all of the different arguments. Like all of them have valid merit, which is why I'm not sure exactly yet how that's going to turn out, but I know it's something that's going to be addressed. So what I'm doing in this scenario is more so giving everybody a heads up that something is coming. Because you're right. It's such a multi-layered conversation. There are multiple sides to it. I agree and understand what you're saying. I also understand the concerns that the admin team as a whole has. I see both. I don't know what the exact right answer is. I don't know what the exact fair answer is.
Yeah, it's like being in a championship fight, bro. I'm beating you 8 rounds, and your corner ain't throwing a towel. We doing bell ring is like, we still doing this? All right, you know what I'm saying? Like we gotta go 12 rounds. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. I totally get it.
So that's one. The second thing. And see, that's why I kind of want to build on, because I felt like we discussed a ton of stuff. We kind of agreed on some things, but then I haven't seen some things posted. So I want to explain, and I'm going to need a minute for this one. The Titans situation, okay? Because there's a lot of confusion around the Titans and what happened and what's going on going forward. So let me tell you what happened. I can't actually take that back. I don't know exactly what happened to glitch the Titans out. What we believe happened is he edited something on his team that he legally could edit. It wasn't like he did some weird, crazy thing around the system. But it somehow caused a glitch to the Titans to where anybody that attempts to play them, when you go into the Play Now screen, the team doesn't show up on the field. Not only does the team not show up on the field, a different team will show up. So you as the Texans go to play the Titans, you jump into the lobby, and it says you're playing the Chicago Bears, not the Titans. And then when you go on the field, there's nobody there. We've put in a ticket with EA. We've scoured all of the forum boards. We've scoured all of the franchise leagues to see if anybody else had this issue. We did see in a few other leagues, a few other franchises, edits were causing some issues like this. But to date, there's no fix in place. Now, there were 2 schools of thought. The first school of thought was shutting down the league and rebooting it and having everybody start over again. And this had been discussed for a long time as we let season 2 go. We had tried for the longest to just keep playing and see if EA was going to get back to us, if the issue was going to get addressed. That didn't happen. So unfairly, the Titans is the odd man out. He doesn't have a team. And the concern was, well, it's kind of not fair to that guy. He's been an owner in good standing. He didn't do nothing wrong. He doesn't have a team. What if it happened to us? At the same time, the prevailing thought from myself and a few others is, hey, in taking care of one person, we can't screw 31 other people over. A lot of people to this point in time have put a lot into making trades to build up their team, draft picks, et cetera, et cetera. So to reboot the league when there's no guarantee that this might not happen again, what will we do in that scenario? Reboot the league another season, a season from now, a month from now? So what we're looking at doing is this, but it's going to go to a vote to the entirety of the league. Okay, we feel decision is big, should be in everybody's ball court. What I propose is this. Inside the AFC South, the folks that have to play the Titans have to split their games. They're going to get 1 forced win. They're going to get 1 forced loss off the top. That includes you, obviously, being in the AFC South. Everybody, huh?
Why should I take it?
Can I finish, brother? Can I finish? Everybody that has to play the Titans on their schedule gets a automatic force sim. Not win or loss, it's just going to be simmed. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. If the Titans get to a point where due to between getting force wins in division and sim wins, they're going to make the playoffs. We're going to force loss them all the way out so they don't make the playoffs. Because if they make the playoffs, the person playing them is going to get glitched out. Now, why do you have to get a loss? That's why this is going to a vote. Because that's the only way we can somewhat make this fair. So the vote is going to come down to this. Either A, as a collective, as a whole entire league, we're going to vote A, to restart the league, every single body, stock roster, back to the beginning. Or B, the only option we're going to have in place is to go in AFC South, one forced win, one forced loss, and everybody plays the Titans, agrees to taking a fair sim, because with Rico leaving, we was able to get the Titans in Atlanta, so he's taking care of it as a team, and if the Titans gets patched, he will have first dibs to go back to his team, but that's the only option we have to still make it somewhat fair and allow the league to keep going. But again, in your scenario, like you just said, why do you have to get a forced loss? If you don't like it, you can vote to restart the league.
What I want to do, right? I think me and Bruno kind of spoke about it because when it first happened, when I first seen it was when he was trying to play something and then it happened. And I was saying like, yo, like we should just restart. I'm in favor of restarting the league because the only reason why not, right? Let's just say we don't restart it. I mean, before I even jump to the AFC force or whatever, but the computer, people will dominate the Titans. And they always, unfortunately, will have a high draft pick, right? So it's like the computer will be top 5 draft pick every year.
That's why it's going to be a sim. It's not a forced win or loss because it's not guaranteed. Listen, we did it last year, and I'm telling you right now, some people took losses to the Titans.
Right, but I'm saying this, right? Now here's my issue from my perspective and my team. I've only in the 2 years that we've played this Madden, I only lost one division game. It was to Jacksonville, the Cypher Squad. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now I have an opportunity, maybe. And then last year, I swept the division. Well, aside from the Titans, but I had beat him too before he lynched out. So it's like now I have to possibly. I'd rather play the computer twice, or play the computer once at least.
But if you think about it, you said you only had 1-4. What are we talking about in your division? One loss?
But that one loss, though.
And you ain't got to take that one by yourself. Jacksonville has to take one loss.
No, I understand that. But that one loss might cost me second place in the AFC, third place.
See, and this is the argument we had in the commission chat. That's why it's going out to a vote for everybody else. Yeah. Again, think about what the intent is here. You're talking about your scenario, what's good for you. In the commish chat, we're looking at what's good for 32 people. We ain't looking at what's.
I'm just saying. I get it. Like I totally get it. I understand what you're saying, and I understand. That's why I said I already start off. I'm in favor of rebooting it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm in favor of rebooting
it. To vote for it.
Yeah, because I don't see. There's no. Everybody's happy, but everybody in the AFC South. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Right. Okay. 32 owners in the league. Well, 31 now without the Titans. 4 people may feel a way about it. Take it back. Yeah, 4 people because you include Titans who's displaced in Atlanta.
But he don't want to be there.
And he don't. So that's 4 people.
Yeah.
So to accommodate the 4 people, 28 other people should start over?
I don't know. That's the tough.
Let's keep it real. You do know. There ain't no math anybody can give me where it's good business to take care of 4 people by screwing over 29. You're a businessman. Do the math on that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand that. But we really see, and I don't want to come off as an ass, right?
Well, speak your piece.
We really only talking about 2 teams in my division. Well, really me and now Jacksonville because he's competitive. Set the Tone hasn't figured it out, and Titans ain't gonna make it. Like you're not gonna make the playoffs. It's just competition level, right? And I'm just saying, as far as like Cletus, like the four divisions are pretty much locked. So it's just tough, yo. I understand what you're saying,
and trust me, and now you're right. Now the counter to that is I don't want to sound like an ass because I don't want to sound like I don't give a shit about Jacksonville. I don't give a shit about Tech Houston. I don't give a shit about Titans. That's why it's to a vote to everybody. We didn't feel that this was a decision we all just wanted to make and say, forget how everybody else feels. This is what we're going to do. The alternative I provided is the scenario we will use going forward if everybody votes on it. So at the end of the day, we're going to let democracy determine the course of our league. So the decision is going to be in your hands and in everybody else's. And if at the end of the day, the vote is to restart, we'll restart in the USFL. And if the vote is not to restart, the only way that we could look to have some type of balance to where Titans aren't consistently getting a high draft pick or Titans aren't making playoffs is to go with the scenario we said: 1 win, 1 loss. And everybody that plays them takes their chances on the sim. And that's why I put all this information out there, because when folks vote for this, you need to keep that in mind. And you need to, at that time, say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to vote for, knowing what I know. Because what I don't want to hear, why do I got to take a sim? I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear when we in week 11, somebody hit me up in the DM going, hey, man, this game's really important to me, man. Is there any way I can play the computer? No. Everybody's going to get the same treatment. So either vote for the reboot or vote knowing when Titans come up on your schedule, that's what it is.
So you're saying this. For all 16 games, all right, let's not do that. Outside of the division games, everybody's going to get a sim.
Yep. Now, again, here's where it's going to get tricky. If they're simming along in between the sims that they're taking and the division losses that they have to mandatorily take on the 1-1, if they're mediocre, we're going to let them be. If for some weird ass reason we get into week 13 and the Titans are like 9-3, we're going to start force lossing them. It won't be a sim at that point. We can't let them in the playoffs. They will glitch and destroy the playoffs. We will start at that point giving automatic force losses. And then what we're going to get is the person in week 3 going, well, that's not fair. When I had the play, it was a fair sim. That's why we're giving. Listen, that's why I'm transparent with what it is.
Yeah, I understand. So,
I'm saying it's a shitty situation.
I understand.
Right. So if somebody doesn't want to be in that scenario, period, then vote to reboot the league. Because if the popular vote goes for keeping it as is, then we're not looking to feel these complaints down the line. We didn't hide anything from anybody. We're telling you what it is out the gate.
Yeah. No, I get it. Now, all I ask is, people who vote, whenever it happens, vote from if it's you and that, if it was somebody in the division, like if it was the Eagles or if it was the, you know what I'm saying? Because again, if I'm in FC and I barely play the Titans, what are we talking about? I'm gonna be like, I ain't restarting, right? Like for what? What we restarting for?
I hear you.
So
you got the platform. You're more than welcome.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody gonna do what you're saying. Now, I'm not telling you. I'm just saying everybody's gonna look at their team. They're gonna look at the draft picks they've acquired. They're gonna look at the trades they've made. Let me give you an example, and I'm not saying he's gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Bucks and you had a garbage can ass roster, but through trades, etc., and draft picks, you built up Jameis, you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Minka Fitzpatrick. What the hell is your motivation to restart the season with the stock bugs to look out for somebody in another division? So all I'm saying is I hear what you're saying, but you and I both know people are going to vote in terms of what their best interest is.
So I guess I got to wait for the next over team and just jump ship then. I'm out. I'm out of Houston. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like yo. I only said it because, again, we talking about, I know it sounds stupid, right? But the one loss in the AFC means something.
You know what? Honestly,
it means something.
Your viewpoint is wrong, but I don't agree with it. I'm not sitting up here, if it's me, wanting to restart the league because of one loss I'm going to take. If one loss is, I just can't see one loss being that much of a problem. 9-7 teams made the playoffs. So I don't want to hear about the competition in the AFC. I was 9-7 like those other 2 teams, and I didn't make it in the NFC. 9-7 teams made the playoffs.
I can't speak for them. I'm speaking about the division. I'm speaking from a different perspective. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, not even.
And you're going to have the option to vote to reboot.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Because I understand, like, if you force them to lose 16 games at a Titan, they'll get the number 1 pick.
Exactly. So we can't go that way.
Can't go that way.
You know what I'm saying? So it's fair to give everybody in the division one win. You shouldn't have to take the chance on 2 sims. In that scenario, you could inevitably go 0-2 for some weird reason. That's not fair. You didn't do nothing wrong.
I understand.
It's fair to give you a win, but then it's fair to say you should get a loss because it's not fair to let you play 2 computer games, like you mentioned earlier. You and I know both damn well you'd win both of those games. So is it fair to give you 2 free wins if you're Cletus? Is it fair to give you 2 free games if you're in the AFC North? So the 1-1 is as fair as you can be. And then everybody outside the conference, it's 1 game that they're taking a chance on. So it's not just you with the 1 loss. I can play the Titans and have to sim. And that 1 loss I get from them could be the reason I don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think that's why it should just be simple. Like I said, outside it, we do it that way, like the 1-1. Then the rest should just be sims, man. And then if unfortunately the Titans make the playoffs, then whoever plays the Titans get the win.
Well, I know we had discussed it ad nauseum, and pretty much at this point, it's either going to come down to the vote on rebooting the league or going with the scenario that I outlined. There's not going to be another equation added to it because ultimately, at the end of the day, there's not any one scenario we can think of that everybody's going to agree on. And it's funny because a lot of times I'm a general manager at my facility where I work, and I've been a high-level manager for a long time. And I've always said this in the commish chat. So I'm used to dealing with employees and multiple personalities. And I see a lot of similarities. There are times I have to impose certain things, and inevitably somebody's not going to like it. But my mindset has always been, hey, I'd love what scenario where 100 people on my shift all love what I'm doing. But that's probably just not going to happen. So as long as I can make a decision that 90% of the shift is good with, hey, I'm sorry for the 10 that it's not good with. I can't come up with something that's going to make everybody happy.
Yeah. We'll see. And like I said, a team who's in the NFC, like you said, you NFC East. What do you care? Unless Titans on your schedule. You know what I'm saying? And then it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, and you're right. Because the counter to that is if the situation happened in the NFC East, what do I care about 1 game out of 16? If that 1 game is the reason why I'm not going, it's like we always talk about this in real life Madden. Inevitably, after a loss, a lot of people want to break shit down and go, man, because of this one thing that happened, the whole game was different. Every once in a blue moon, that's true. But for the most part, it wasn't about the one thing that happened. There were several other things that happened along the way that forged the entirety of the outcome of the game. It's very rare that there's one scenario. Because of that one thing, that's why you lost. It's just we're in a heat moment, and we don't want to acknowledge it. Oh, man, Mag did this to me. Oh, man, if I'd have made just that one catch in the first quarter, I'd have been good. It would have been a different game. Really, bro? You didn't have the second quarter. You didn't have the third quarter. You didn't have it was just that one catch 2 minutes into the game that you dropped to change the whole game, huh?
Yeah, I get it. I understand. So someone said give the Titans all some losses and then they get the first #1 pick, and so be it. I mean, that's an argument, right? I mean, because people who've gotten the first pick haven't unfortunately, haven't really made an impact with them. Right.
I mean, if you're the number 2, I mean, again, and I appreciate Tone's. What was funny? We was having a commish chat. Tone popped up, and everybody's like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "That set the tone." And we just had a quick chat, and then Tone realized we were in the draft. He's like, "Hey, peace out, fellas." But hey, we do need to get up a little party chat there, Tone. It was a cool little chat. Anyways, in that scenario, if I'm the second team, I'm the Raiders. I tried my guts out, but unfortunately, I'm 2-14. This team is 0-16 is going to get the very best player in the entire draft. I played all my games in 2-14, and automatically the computer is going to take that player. The computer knows its own algorithm, and now I'm the Raiders, and I went 2-14 for nothing.
Who had the #1 pick last season?
I'm sorry?
Who had the #1 pick last draft?
Pittsburgh.
He had the #1 pick last draft and the year before?
Oh, no. Oh, shit. I think Raiders. I think.
Right. And how did that pan out?
Okay. So, but okay, it's so funny you say that, right?
How did that pan out, right? Bill has the #1 pick this year. Let's see how it pans out.
Right. Okay. So, but what's different about in that scenario? You like that outcome because it benefits you. So what's different about the outcome?
Because the argument is if they go on 16 and get the best number one, they get the number one pick.
Right.
Bill has the number one pick. Let's see how much of an impact that number one pick. Are we putting that much emphasis on the number one pick in the last? And we're basically saying in the first 2 seasons, the people who got the number one picks haven't made a strong impact.
Is it because of the player they got or because of them? You just sat here and said,
I agree. Now,
hold on one second. You just said 40 minutes ago, all right, Bill, you got the best quarterback in the draft, player, you got the tackle, you don't got no excuse. So your expectation is because he got that same pick that you just want randomly, arbitrarily to go to the Titans, his future should be different now.
So which one is it? But with the Titans, if they got Mariota, they wouldn't have picked him.
Say that again?
The Titans wouldn't have picked him because they had Mariota. They wouldn't have picked him. So if he had the number 2 pick, he still would have got that pick.
You never know. Mariota was up on a contract year.
Right. All right. Right. So then the argument is them, right? But again, now you might be right. Right now, to answer your question, is it them or is it? Would you say is it the team or is it the player? Right.
Right.
Right. So then now the question becomes, let's turn on Coach Fire. Then let's turn on Coach Fire then. So then that way. It's just a tough, whatever. It is what it is, bro. Ain't nobody in my division is going to be, unfortunately, we're not, like you said, it's 29 against 4 for real. Or 29 against.
I don't know. Because I can tell you right now, for a fact, I know that there are other people who probably feel like you who are in favor of rebooting it. And ultimately, sometimes, I'm glad we're actually having this conversation because I'm going to say something now that I've been wanting to say for a minute.
Talk about it.
Sometimes I love this platform me and you have, and sometimes I hate it. It's a love-hate thing.
It's a give it a curse, real.
See, so right, because perfect example, I'm the face that's delivering the conversation we had in the commission chat. So ultimately, just like going back to what I always say about comparing the league to the employees I have, inevitably I'm the one that's going to get the heat, right? So even in this scenario, even though you're not going at me, we're having this discussion. I'm the one that's got to defend this position because I'm the face delivering this. It's just like we give a show here where we give our not free, but we give our unbiased, unfettered takes on what we see.
Correct.
But no matter how much good I say about anybody, if I say any one thing that somebody doesn't like, they feel like I disrespected them. They feel like I slighted them. They feel like I'm not giving them credit. I'm shitting on them. I'm sleeping on them. And it's like, I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Sure. Because if I just sit here and I don't say anything, the show won't be entertaining and people don't tune in not to hear our opinion. But if I'm giving a fair take and I'm saying, hey, I think this and this and this, I got to go in the chat to a bunch of people going, oh, here we, why you shitting on me? I see how it is and all this other shit. And it's like.
And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because you're also on the admin team, right? So it's like,
right,
you can't really speak from Giants to owner. You can to a certain point, but then when it comes to stuff like this, you instantly become Giants to admin.
No, right. See, and that's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, it's like any and everybody. I've been in the league a long time, so even people that haven't been in the league a long time, I think I'm consistent in my actions and demeanors. I like to joke around from time to time. I'm cool with everybody. I try not to be disrespectful to anybody at all. I try to be a good sportsman. I give my good games out. I give props where they do. And the one thing that I like to say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I think most people know me for is I feel like I'm fair and unbiased, even in here. A lot of times I get on you about not being unbiased, but at the same time, the dynamic me and you has makes this show. If it's you doing a show with Joe Smith, is it the same show?
No, because
not. If I'm doing this show with another person like me, it's not the same show either.
Because we have to speak. You have to speak. In this situation, you have to be tied to admin, and unfortunately, you have to be the guys who aren't the admin.
No. This is a perfect scenario. So it's not even necessarily about this right here. I just kind of segmented into the whole, it's tough sometimes when you have the platform.
Yeah.
Because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Some people are going to be happy with, if you say, I think Joe Smith is real good, he's happy. But then on the next breath, if you say, I think Joe Smith is not that good, oh, why you dish me? Oh, man, you sleeping on me. Oh, I see how it is. Oh, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, man, like, what you want from me, man? You know, somebody's going to be happy. Somebody's not. There are a bunch of owners that's going to look at this and go, you know what? I put a lot of time and work into my team. I made these moves. I made these trades. I like the team I have now. I'm content to go forward. But trust me, there are also going to be owners like you, Gates, that feel the same way. Hey, man, let's reboot this bad boy. Reset my cap. I got my game plan down. I can rebuild my team back up. I'm for whatever we all as a collective entire league vote on. So if we vote and say, hey, man, we're going to reboot, well, then I'm just going to have the 70 overall Giants again. It'll be part 2, and that's what it is.
Because it'll be the most current roster, right? The reboot be the most current roster.
Yes.
Yeah. But, you know, it's whatever, man. It's whatever. I had to speak to it. Like, I had to speak to it. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
But that's good, and I'm glad you did. Because, again, that's why I like this. You're right. I do like that you take it upon yourself to speak for, because the more opinions. Listen, you seen Bill chime in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The admins are hearing this.
Yeah.
So maybe this conversation spurs another alternative. So that's why we always say we do listen to what y'all got to say. We don't come by any decision that we make real easily and without thinking of the pros and cons of all the decisions and how it affects the entirety of everybody.
Yeah. I understand it's a vote. Like, you know, I've been around long enough. I understand it's a vote. And I understand that there's different mad minds inside of the admin group, right?
Sure.
You know, there's some older thinking guys, some evolving thinking guys, and some guys who kind of, you know.
Well, there's also guys that think about that are neutral and biased and think about think about what's good for everybody. There's guys that really think about themselves, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a somewhat democratic process. That's why we have the amount of admin we have to get multiple views. If one person just ran the league, it's going to be what they want it to be. If you have 6 people that have voting power, it's you. All of these conversations, Gage, trust me when I tell you this. This conversation me and you are having, I've had this conversation for 2 months now.
Yeah, I know.
So is Boone, so is Cletus, so is Ron, so is Doc, and so is Bill. The same thing in the commish chat, going at it just like this, on phone calls, in party chats, going at it just like this. So
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. I know. I said when I'm, helping run the UG.
Yeah,
that's tough. Like, yeah. I just want to play my games, bro. Like it's getting too political up here. I just want to play my games, bro.
I really that sometimes, man. I really do.
So that's all. Anything else? Hit me with something else. Anything else?
There was, and that's what I'm trying to think about. So something's going to be coming in regards to dealing with the perceived lack of sportsmanship and the high scoring. A vote should be coming about the rule of the league, vice playing with the stipulations we outlined. Oh, I'll tell you another thing that we did. So we're going to amend the free agent rules, and here's what I mean about that. So at the end of the season, and I don't like to, I'm not outing anybody. I'm just.
I know what we're gonna talk about. All right, go ahead.
Donjo dropped Dak Prescott. So Paya had received a suspension, and I can't even recall what it was for. But something he did.
He picked him up.
Paya scored under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. So it was deemed his best player to lose was Baker Mayfield. But then he goes in free agency and picks up Dak Prescott. Was any consequence for his action? Now
it should. It should. Now here's not to blame Paya. Normally, before Madden will let you do that. Madden will let the same player play twice in the same week.
Agreed, but we've all agreed that this man's special.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why we have the Titans situation now. The special man.
Now I watched that game, and when I seen Dak Prescott throw the first throw, I was thinking, well, how did he pick him up right after? I knew Donjo had signed him. I knew Donjo had cut him because it comes out on the jump, like the messages or whatever. I thought it was. First of all, I ain't saying I ain't no admin, but I was like, dang, he picked up Dak Prescott. I was like, oh, they let that slide. Like, okay, he can play twice in the same week. Who knew? You know what I'm saying? Because in theory, he shouldn't have been eligible to play that game in the playoffs. In my opinion.
Okay. From the gameplay standpoint, it should not have let him play twice in the week. But I think that was a very unique situation that there probably isn't logic written for because it's some weirdo shit.
Because of the playoffs.
Like in the NFL, that doesn't really happen like that.
Right.
So I can understand the logic's not there, but it prompted conversation amongst the admin to go, how can we prevent this from happening again? So I'm not quite sure yet because I didn't see or know what the verbiage is going to be, but there is something coming that's going to be put in place to where you're not going to be allowed to drop dudes like that close to the end of the season to avoid that same scenario from happening again. Because in that scenario, look at you. Okay, we just talked about, you said Pye played the best game he played. I'll use you for an example. What if you was the one that had to play him when he was facing that suspension and you go from Joe Smith, the backup quarterback, to now having to deal with Dak Prescott?
Well, yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he wins the first game. I don't think he wins the wild card game without having Dak Prescott.
Exactly. So in theory, not only possibly potentially should Jacksonville have won, you could have had a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
But because he was able to pick up Dak Prescott, he benefited from a glitch. Now he didn't purposely glitch. He took what was available. Don Joe didn't intentionally drop him for Pye to come up. He just wasn't thinking. He was looking at his team, his situation, clearing his cap, etc., not realizing the consequences of his actions. So there is going to be something coming forward, verbiage-wise, to put something in place to where toward that end of the season, dudes like that cannot be dropped until the season's end, etc., etc. And I don't mean the season's end in terms of your season ended at 16 games. I mean the end of the Super Bowl, like when you're at that re-sign free agent, re-sign your own free agents. At that point, you can drop certain dudes. So again, I'm sorry I don't recall or know what the exact verbiage is or how it's going to be worded, but that's coming as well.
I mean, to be honest, it was just a weird event, right? Like if Pye doesn't get the suspension, that never happens. For real. That never happens, right?
Well, okay, but the reason I'm for legislating that, okay, that doesn't happen. But now Gates, in his very first game against Pye, loses to Deshaun Watson. He somehow he totes the mark and he goes right in free agency and picks up Dak Prescott. Yeah, so like whether the suspension happens or not, the fact that somebody of that magnitude is out there could cause havoc.
No, what I'm saying is this. I don't even think Pye was wrong for picking up Dak. I just don't think Dak should have played in that same game. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it was like Don Joe loses first round, game over, he cuts him. Pye goes right behind him and signs him. In theory, he shouldn't have signed. He shouldn't have played that first round. If Pye, he could have played second round.
But look at this. The real NFL, Josh Gordon, Flash Gordon just got cut from New England. He cleared waivers. Seattle picked him up. I think he's not going to play tomorrow, but there was serious discussion about him playing tomorrow. So literally, even in the NFL, that happens. It doesn't happen often, but Josh Gordon played in the last New England game. Mm-hmm. In this potential talk that he could play tomorrow for Seattle. So it does happen. It's just weird, which is why we're looking to put something in place for that not to happen. Even in the real NFL, that could possibly happen.
Yeah. Because I know that cutting players before, like, after the Super Bowl, like the season's technically over after the Super Bowl's played. But I know, like, you can cut guys and whatever and help free up some money before a lot of that, you know what I'm saying, goes over. So we'll see how you guys word it.
Yeah. I feel like there was something else.
But because the guy before the Super Bowl and cutting him after the Super Bowl has two different. This special man has two different impacts. You know what I'm saying on cap.
Agreed. So that's coming. I'll tell you the other thing that I do know we did too. The fourth thing. So we fielded a lot of issues from a lot of folks, DMs, conversations, etc., about an increase to XP. So in lieu of that, we increased the sliders for all offensive linemen plus 50 points and all defensive linemen plus 50 points. Because what we've always tried to do is if we raise the sliders for one group, we try to look at the exact opposite group on the other side of the ball and offset it so that one group is not overpowered over the other. It'll be like raising sliders for the wide receivers and not doing it for the corners. So we have increased the sliders plus 50 for all offensive linemen and all defensive linemen.
Is there a reason? What I'm saying is,
why that group?
Were people feeling like they weren't getting boost on offensive linemen and defensive linemen?
Yes.
No.
But here's what gets complicated.
Right. Can I go first? Can I go first? Just from a coach perspective, before you. I only ask that because it's a couple of things, right? Are these players fitting your scheme, for one, right? Do they have the little purple piece that gives them the bonus? Do you have the coach's package? Are you picking the right start weekly joints to give these players boosts on both sides? You know what I'm saying? Those are my questions. Then I'm asking just before, as people are like, offensive linemen ain't getting no XP, defensive linemen getting no XP. Bro, I pick the ones for defensive linemen and LBs every week. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now
I make sure that everybody has that purple. Like if you don't fit my scheme, you ain't on my team because I need that boost. I mean, that's just me though. So,
if you want to know the truth, I think honestly, it's a waste of conversation. If I give the offensive lineman 50 and I give the defensive lineman 50, what did you get? 0.
No, I'm asking.
No, right. Just hear me out what I'm saying. This is not for you. What I'm saying is I don't think it makes any difference one way or the other. If I'm giving the offensive lineman plus 50, I'm giving the D lineman plus 50, 0. So right now, let's say offensive linemen are at 10, and let's say defensive linemen are at 10. They're just as effective as the offensive lineman now being at 60 and the D line being at 60. You got nothing.
No, my question is,
I think it makes a difference one way or the other for me.
No, my question is,
I know what you're saying.
Did you feel like does Ty feel like O linemen and defensive linemen weren't getting their just due when it comes to XP? That's what I'm asking. Like that's the point I'm making. Like
honestly,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Commish hat is off.
Yeah, I'm asking Ty the Giants on.
The Giants hat is on. I was fine. I drafted the best offensive lineman in the league that was available last year. And he started out on my team as a 74, and at season's end, he was an 81.
Right.
He increased 7 OVR. I was fine. But again, training-wise, he was my highlighted player.
That's what I'm saying.
Training-wise, my drills was centered toward building the O-lineman.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
No, right. That's why I said I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But now, still speaking as a Giants owner, honestly, you're right. I get what you're saying. I'm also going to say this. I know there are people out there that probably feel the quarterbacks don't get enough boost. There are going to be some people that feel the running backs don't get enough boost. There are going to be some people that feel the wide receivers don't get enough boost. You're always going to have this. In this particular scenario, I had issues with my GroupMe, and I had to uninstall it and reinstall it several times. And that's why I'm a little foggy on some of this stuff. And then when we had the party chat, it was late at night. And I was kind of a little loopy in terms of the next day. It was super busy. And we didn't go back into the chat and firm up and write a lot of this stuff in the chat. So that's why I'm a little vague in what I'm saying. I'm not sure why exactly. I mean, I guess I could try to go back and look why it was chosen to do the offensive and defensive linemen, but it was put to a vote. And in the group chat for the commissions, that vote passed that those two groups needed the boost. Do I personally feel they needed it? I was fine without it. But even with it, I don't see what it's going to do.
Oh, no.
Increase the same amount, so they're going to play the same way now that they were playing before because they're both equally improved.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. My question wasn't the 50-50. I was just felt like, did you feel like I felt like they were fine to me? And then my question is, before I even say that, did I do the necessary things to even see that they're getting boosted? You know what I'm saying? So you hit it.
And that's why I answered that. And I said, look, I'm with you. I didn't have any issue. I mean, I will say this. My honest opinion. The D lineman got the D line is severely neutered this season in comparison to other Maddens, in my own personal opinion. If you don't have Marcus Lawrence or Aaron Donald, you ain't making no noise off the edges. Maybe Myles Garrett. You take them three out of it.
Joey Bosa.
D lineman, okay, Bosa. So there's 4. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it should be 90. Everybody's not elite. But at the same time, in comparison to other Maddens, and I think this goes back to the run conversation that we had before about being overpowered. When I told you, I feel my issue with why I felt the run game was overpowered was because the block shed of the D lineman is not the same this year. Like, I can give Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville was an absolute terror on the D line last year in Madden because he's so fast and his block shed was like, I don't know, mid to high 80s, like 80, no, take that back, like 83 or 84. So when you couple a dude with his speed and that block shed, this year I want to say that dude's block shed is like a 73, which he's a speed rusher. So I don't have a problem with that. Jason Pierre-Paul, somebody who's traditionally been a problem on the Madden game, mid-70s block shed, those dudes ain't getting off blocks.
Correct.
So if they're not getting off blocks, that's why the run is the way it is. So in my own personal opinion, the D lineman block shed is nowhere near as effective this year as it's been in previous Maddens. But again,
unless you have somebody elite, right?
Unless what?
Unless you have somebody elite, potentially, is what we're saying.
Not even elite. Like I'm talking about top 5 in the game at that position, which is probably maybe correct.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if the thought behind increasing the D lineman was because of that, you didn't gain anything if you increased the offensive lineman. You had the same thing you had before the increase, so why do it? Like, right. What do you think?
Right.
Now, if you said, I'm going to raise the D lineman to 100 and the O lineman to 50, there's a plus 50 gain for the D lineman, and I can see that making it more effective. But if you increase 2 groups the exact same that offset each other, leave it where it's at now because it's the same thing.
Correct.
Now, there is one more thing, and I know a lot of people are going to be jumping for joy about this.
Here we go. I get nervous.
You said you get nervous?
Every time you're like, it's another thing. I'll be like,
oh, no, everyone's going to like this one. So, I had suggested that the drafts, and I heard a bunch of people, and I agree with them. The drafts, to me, in my opinion, they're just abysmal. Okay, if the very best dude being drafted at number 1 is like 74, I mean, the drafts last year, I thought were kind of bad, but the drafts this year makes last year's drafts look like the 84 quarterback class where John Elway and Dan Marino went. These drafts are just bad. So we was looking at one of 2 things. Overall XP slotted increase boosts across the board, or what I suggested, and we're going to go that way, and I'm excited about it because I think it'll be fun for some people. Custom drafts are coming to the USFL, imported custom draft classes. Now, what I cannot recall, my suggestion was to rotate that because in UG, we felt those custom drafts were way overpowered last year. I mean, they're fun, but in season 3, everybody shouldn't have 95 OVR squads. But that's what happened because those custom drafts in UG last year was so steroid infused. It was insane. Like in the 4th and 5th round, routinely, everybody was still getting superstars. So we don't want the same thing in UG. So what I suggested was rotating the drafts. 1 year standard, 1 year custom. 1 year standard, 1 year custom. That way, every other year, we can infuse kind of a boost of some higher end players, but even it out by a regular draft year after that so that everybody's not starting an arms race and building super teams. Now, if I recall in the commission chat, one of the things was, well, we should be consistent if we're going to do it and do it regularly. But I think it is going to be rotated. But again, there'll be exact verbiage coming about that in the chat, whether it's going to be every year or every other year. So stay tuned for that. But I think most people are going to enjoy that. Just because one of the things you guys did in UG that we liked was we felt that custom drafts really made it fun for people. It kept people engaged. It made people stick around in the drafts longer, and it gave people hope that once you got into the third or fourth round, you could still get talent. Whereas for me, in my personal opinion right now, once you get past pick 20 in the second round, you can go on auto at that point.
Now,
in my own opinion.
I wasn't in last year, so I don't know the whole custom situation. I just want to compare this Madden draft, I guess, to the real draft, right? It's like, I agree, like really past the second round, you hit and miss. I mean, really hit and miss. But is that not like the real NFL? Like, people only watch the first 2 rounds anyway.
No, in the real NFL, I'm an NFL head. Cletus is an NFL head. Like, the second day to me is where you actually make your money. You don't make it on the first day. And in the real NFL, you're routinely pulling out star quality players and people that are perennial Pro Bowlers in the second day routinely.
Right, but that comes from a lot of that comes from gameplay performance, right? Not like they would have, not like super, usually like the top 10 in the first round, like the guys who like were men amongst boys in college, right?
Not necessarily. Look at Josh Allen in real life on the Buffalo Bills. No, he's not a superstar, but here's a dude, or no, better yet, let me use Carson Wentz. Okay, Carson Wentz went high in the draft, but game film, he was playing at North Dakota State. So what you see in the second day of the draft is you get a lot of talent that falls for various reasons. Larry Tunsil a few years ago, he didn't fall into the second day, but he felt what was perceived he had a marijuana issue. You get guys that have had legal troubles that fall into the second day. You get guys whose stock just slipped. You get guys who didn't have a strong combine, but they had an awesome college career because they didn't do well in the combine. They're on that second day. So there is a ton of talent that makes and breaks a lot of teams in the second day.
Second day being third round?
Huh?
Second day being third round?
Hell, the most famous story of all, Tom Brady, drafted in 6th or the 7th round?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens all of the time. There is a lot of supreme talent. Victor Cruz went undrafted. There's a lot of supreme talent. And when I say the second day, mainly rounds 3 through 5.
Yeah.
Let me say rounds 2 through mid-4. Probably actually take that back. Middle of the second round to about maybe the beginning, middle of the 5th round. The 6th and 7th, that's a true crapshoot, and that's the way it should be. Right. You ain't getting a lot of talent in the 6th and 7th round. There's the weird anomalies, but you can routinely knock home runs out the park with round 3 players, round 4 players.
Now, who's creating these custom classes? Just random guys?
Now, that's the other piece we're working on. Yes, it's going to be a random guy. Like, honestly, I'm not going to say who the guy's going to be. Because, obviously, if I say Gates is the guy, not saying Gates is unethical, but you probably don't need a bunch of people saying, hey, man, did you see anything in the draft? Like, so it's going to be in secret who's doing it, but it's not.
No, I'm saying who creates them? Some random Joe off the internet? Or you saying one of you admins are going to create the custom draft?
I'm kind of the wrong person to ask for that because I've never ran a custom draft. So I don't know the intricate ins and outs, and I don't want to give you guys false information. Yeah. I believe it's generated by a random. I'll tell you who I know would be a good person to answer that, Kurt. But unfortunately, I sent this message earlier that he's at dinner with the wife because Kurt ran the UG drafts. Actually, that answered my own question. It's got to be an admin because Kurt ran them for UG.
Yeah, but he ran them, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's you should ask him. I don't. Cletus would be a good person. I mean, that's Mel Kiper Jr. right there. Cletus would know and be a good person to ask. Ron might be a good person to know and ask because they do a lot of tinkering. They'll create all offline leagues just to experiment with things and see how things work from a gameplay and admin perspective and league setting perspective. So Ron would probably know. Kurt would know because he ran them. Cletus would know. I haven't ran any, so I don't know, and I don't want to say the wrong thing or give false information.
Okay. So some of those address.
So all in all, in conclusion, some's coming to address the outpouring points. XP increase for offensive and defensive linemen 50 and 50. Custom drafts, I think, rotated. A vote on whether or not we go forward with the league as is with conditions and stipulations, or we reboot. And I think those were the things that we all discussed.
Still, no coach firing.
Brother, that's not going to happen. Look, I'm not, you know me, man. I don't mince words. That's not going to happen.
No motion snapping.
Let me ask you a question. Do you remember who created that idea?
What?
For coach firing?
No.
Me. I did. I brought that up. I started that in this owner's box. I brought up that idea. So you know I'm for it. I had the idea.
Yeah. I'm just asking if it's conversation that had motion snapping. Still no? Not having that conversation?
The conversation's never been had.
Okay.
Honestly, that's interesting. For me personally, see, this year in Madden is so different. I would have been in favor of motion snapping for any other year for Madden beside this year. The run game doesn't need no more help.
I got you.
Well, any other year, I would have been 100%. See, you know what? We didn't have that conversation. Maybe it's something I'll bring up because I do see another merit for the motion snapping. It's not even just for the run game. It's to get all of these jackasses that want to sit there the whole game and press the shit out of you all game long. Yeah. You start motion snapping some of these sons of guns, they'll cut that bullshit out.
Yeah. Fourth down amendments at all? Any conversations about that?
Same. No conversations about it.
My only suggestion on the fourth down rule is if we're in a red zone, we should have the option to like risk a field goal or not risk it. You know what I'm saying? I'll go for it.
I'll tell you what, man. If you want to send me quick bullet points via text or in the DM, about things like that you want to discuss, I can bring it up in the chat. I'm pretty sure the other commissioners are going to hear and see this, but that way I won't forget. So hit me up or hit Boone or hit Cletus, but hit me and I'll say, hey man, what do you guys think about these things?
No problem. Thank you that you are co-hosting the show because without you sitting here, the other 27 of us or whatever it is don't have an inside of that circle. And when we do the show, especially towards the end of the season, these are the only times we can have this conversation. Like, what are you guys talking about? You guys talking about? You know what I'm saying? You talking about this, something like that. Whether it's yes or no. It's just, I just figured I'll pick some random topics out there where I can have conversations with other owners to see if the conversations we may have in them party chats, in them calls or whatever.
And that's why, like, once again, I try as best as I can to be as honest as I can about any and everything. And that's why, like, I can tell you, no, that hasn't been discussed, or this hasn't been discussed, or here's what the thought was. So, no, I definitely don't mind giving a forum. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, we want the majority of the league. Take that back. We want all of the league. It's just not going to happen. But we would like everybody here to really enjoy their game experience. So if there's things you guys want or can offer that we haven't looked at or touched on, or things that can improve the league, we generally have an interest in hearing them and discussing them. I'm just jumping in here. What y'all talking about? I heard my name. Kurt, we was talking about alternating custom drafts in USFL. And I was telling Gates that I'm pretty sure you were the guy that ran the custom drafts for UG last year. And Gates was asking me how it worked in terms of, does a random person generate it? Does an admin generate it? And I said, I've never ran a custom draft, so I don't know. I mentioned you, Kurt, as a person that might know because I know you ran it for UG. So any input you have on that, it would help right now because I assumed you go into a different option and you import a generated draft. Bill would know too. And that one person is solely responsible for that, but I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. But going back to what me and you were saying, sometimes I know people, I haven't heard this really in a while, which I'm glad, but I know sometimes people may tend to feel or think that like, hey, like nobody cares about what we want as owners or players, and everybody's just telling us what to do and how to do it, and we want to have fun and this, that, and the third. And we do genuinely try to put in things that are in a majority of people's interest. Of course, there's always going to be certain things that certain people don't like or rub some people away, but the stuff that we do implement, the thought and mindset is trying to do something that the majority of the people like and feel they can benefit from.
I agree. Anything else before we move on to the next topic? Or we good?
Move on, brother, because I think in Bill, Ron, Cletus, Boone, Doc, if there's something that we discussed that I didn't bring up, I forgot, brother. You know, I'm getting a little long in the tooth here, a little gray. Getting older, memory might not be the best. So I apologize if I'm forgetting something.
It's all right. Let's talk about divisions real quick. Just give me a breakdown of your divisions for year 3. Strong divisions. Just a quick run through the teams in the divisions. AFC East. Want to go NFC? You do NFC?
You know what? Why don't you break down the NFC? Being an AFC guy, I break down the AFC. Do it that way. Unless you want us to chime in on all the divisions.
No. Let me take AFC.
Well, no, you're an AFC guy. You take the NFC.
Okay.
I'm an NFC guy. I'll take the AFC.
Okay. I think that the NFC West is still the strongest in the NFC. I think the 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks are in their rhythm. They got their schemes down. The question is, is Drew going to be the punching bag in that division? Not the punching bag, but is he also going to try to figure out a way to win and steal some of them wins back from Dre? Because again, if Dre loses 2 or 3 more wins, takes 2 or 3 more losses, man, that division can go a 4-way split at that. I think your division I think you can win this division this year. I think Redskins look good in the preseason, but I've seen when Truck gets in, close games and things get a little too crazy or too tight, he turns back in the truck of Madden 18 and comes out to that split close and starts just throwing crazy passes. I'll pick you to win the division this year. I think Dre will win the division. And NFC West, I'm going to go with Boone. NFC North, I think Lions will be second in that division. Did the Lions get a quarterback?
No, he's still Stafford.
Then I'm gonna go with Ted. Because I know how he plays in UG and then how he plays in USFL. The team's not the same.
No.
Huh?
Who'd you say is gonna win the North?
Boom. Bears. Oh. Bears first, Packers second, Lions third, and then unfortunately Minnesota fourth. That's just because Minnesota hasn't. I feel like Minnesota's still trying to get all their pieces together. NFC South, hands down, is going to be the Bucs by far. No disrespect to the other 3 people. I know Trick doesn't even want to be there. He played our preseason game. He's like, yeah, I'm just being Atlanta because I want to be in the league. I really want the Titans back. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate for him. But that's how I see the NFC going.
You know what's funny? I think everybody knows I'm a dire Giants fan. Maybe one of the biggest New York homers.
I think you win the division.
No, I got you on that. I don't get that whole Trick's mindset. I'm a diehard Giant fan. If the situation happened to me and I had to be somebody else, it is what it is. I'm gonna get them back, hopefully this year, maybe next year. But I just enjoy the game. That's why I enjoy being. If you think about it, multiples of times the Giants come open in UG. I never take them. I like being a different team. I'm always the Giants. I lab with the Giants. I practice with the Giants. I play online rank with the Giants. I'm in the franchises the Giants. Ain't the worst thing in the world to play with a different team in a different conference with different players.
Yeah. So,
which goes back to the coach fire thing. Well, why I said, hey, would it suck if I wasn't the Giants? Yeah, it would. But I'm going to make it work no matter who I got, where I got, and what's going on.
You know, you say that,
huh?
I said it's funny if you say that because I learned from Gibbs, right? As Gibbs used to be I learned from him. He was like, "Yo, just because your team is good in real life doesn't mean they're a good Madden team."
That's true too.
Or just because you're a favorite team doesn't make them the best Madden team for you.
And you hit that right on the head because, damn it, I don't want to forget this, but I don't want to get off track. You know what? I'll jump on AFC in a minute. I want to chime on something you just said that I agree with.
Yeah.
That's like the age-old life analogy. A lot of times when people talk about real life, they talk about product of the environment. No, nature versus environment, right? I kind of feel that way in Madden, right? And the reason I agree with what Gibbs said is because sometimes your style of play has a lot to do with everything. Like, perfect example, right? I'll use you. When I think of you, you're a pass first guy. You're going to pass 75% of the time, sprinkling 15% of the run, just enough to keep people off balance. And if it's successful, you're not stupid. You'll run some more. But that's not your go-to style of how you like to play. So even though the Niners are a dominant team, because they were run-heavy, run-first team, that's not a good fit for you, in my opinion.
Right.
Honestly, I'm kind of similar. Me and you have always played similar. I'm a pass-first guy. I've ran more and more last year and this year to where there's a real nice balance there, but I'm in my comfort zone when I can pass first. So even me getting the Niners, even though they're a dominant run team, that's not a good fit for me. Dre is a run first guy. So I don't know that. I'm trying to think. I don't know that New England's a good team for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't have the type of running back he has or likes or wants. They got James White and a bunch of plug-in patch guys. Normally, they're gonna spread the ball around and they're gonna throw it 50 times, but that's not what Dre wants to do. So you're right. I think you have to have a perfect marriage of what you like to do and then having the talent to do it, which goes back to why I told you earlier when you was talking about how you build a team. Yes. First and foremost, you have to build according to the team you have. I mean, you have to build to compete in your division, but then secondarily, you need to build a team that fits the way you like to play the game.
Yeah, so I brought up real quick to ask him about the custom draft. So you want to set up the question? Or?
Let's go.
Yo, what's going on?
Nothing much. Hey, so I was telling Gates we're looking to implement custom drafts in the USFL. Now, I know we ran them to high success in UG last year, and I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, you was the guy that imported and generated the drafts, custom drafts for UG. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you know how that process works? Gates, ask him the question you asked me that I said I couldn't answer.
Are you randomly picking draft classes from like the shared community, or are you actually creating the draft? Are you creating the
first one I did last year, I did it myself. I actually did all the draft, all the scouting myself, all the adjusting the sliders, all myself. The second one I did, I downloaded it from the actual community. Yeah.
Which one? How was it downloading it from the community?
I mean, you just gotta download it and try it out in like a different league and see how it looks. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't just play everybody. Superstars. You just gotta adjust them.
Okay, so basically, we need somebody who's like super ethical.
Yeah.
Doing it, because again, if you're say if you're top 5 pick, you're the same person who created the draft. Essentially, you know where everybody's at, right?
Facts. Yeah, it's got to be somebody that's honest. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what my thought is too.
Yeah.
It's really got to be a very ethical, above reproach person that can really just lock in. And that's why I said, we have a person, but it's not something we necessarily wanted to put out and say, hey, it's this person. Now you're going to have people hitting that person up.
Yeah. Because if you download the one from the community, it's 100% random, but it could be everybody superstars, basically. Because some guy just wanted to make a bunch of superstars for the draft class.
Give me a second, fellas.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess it has to be somebody ethical. So.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can bring it back in. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Hold on, is it back? You good?
I had to run to the store right quick.
Okay. So I was asking, I mean, when you download it from the community, is it just a bunch of superstars all over it? Is it pretty?
I mean, it depends who draft who made it. You know what I mean? It all depends who made it. Like you could tell, like when you do the community, it's going to show you how many downloads that person has. If it has a lot of downloads, that means it's good quality. You know what I mean? And then you just, you know what I mean? You just gotta, put that draft class in like a created created league you made. You just check them and make sure they all good. And it's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Nobody got like everything's 100. You know what I mean? You just gotta check it and make sure everything's good. Because sometimes, like, somebody can make a draft class. It looks good from, you know what I mean, from the outside, but as soon as you go in there, everything's all crazy.
Right. So it's like really like a roll of the dice.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I made the actual first one. I actually did all the work myself. The first class I did last year, but it took me too long. It took me 2 weeks to do that. I was like, hell no, I can't do that again. You know what I mean? So that's why I went with the community the second time. You know what I mean? But like I said, like you just gotta have somebody that's trustworthy. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to cheat and know who's what. And I mean, of course you're gonna know who's what, but you're not gonna, you know what I mean? Go after. You know what I mean? Don't be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, like I mean, all the you know what I mean? That's why I did it, just to make it fun. You know what I mean? Don't have any actually, so you just want to have random names running around.
Okay. I appreciate you chiming in, good brother, but the signal is a little crazy. And he's frozen. All right. NFC, Ty. AFC.
AFC. You have North, East. Okay, start the AFC East. Actually, start the AFC West. Home of the defending Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, my fault. Your joint was breaking up. Crazy. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you go, brother. I appreciate you coming in on that. Yeah. Go ahead, my fault. Go ahead, keep going.
Starting with the home, home of the USFL champs, the San Diego Chargers. Congrats. AFC West, that's still Candy's division to me until somebody beats him. Now, I will say this because a bunch of people have asked, when we go into free agency, you cannot have a bid that's not green on a player win that player. If you win a player and their bid is not in the green, you will be requested by the admins to drop that player. A bunch of people have brought it to the admins team's attention that San Diego picked up Dak Prescott in the yellow. So before everybody thinks that we're not addressing it, we have reached out to him in regard to that situation. Now, back to what we said, Chargers are the team to beat. Hell, they're the team to beat probably for everybody. They're the champs. I don't know if Lincoln's going to be focused this season to be that same Chiefs team that he was in season one, or is he going to kind of be in and out of it like he was last year? I don't think who else is in the West? The Raiders and the Chargers. The Raiders and the Broncos. I don't see either one of those teams able to compete with Chiefs or Chargers at this time. I'm really hoping and really actively rooting for both teams to really make a jump. It ain't from lack of effort. Doc and Thang play their games. They try. They draft. I'd really like to see them make a jump, but it's clearly Chargers division to beat. If the Chiefs is focused and dialed in, maybe he can push like he did in season 1. Your division, same thing. I'd love to see set the tone, make a jump. He's kind of floundered around season 1 and 2. He hasn't quite found his footing yet. I'm hoping this is a season that it comes together for him and he can at least compete at a higher level, which is kind of more so what I'm used to seeing from him. Titans are non-existent. We talked about that. The Jags, I definitely think it'll be really interesting to see what a full season with this Jaguar team rebuilt in the Jaguars' image is. Jags is a really, really tricky player. And it's funny because I kind of hate playing people like him. He plays a really weird style in terms of it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of glitchy shit. But hold on. Before anybody says it's not glitchy, he's not cheating. It's not anything against the rules. It's not anything unethical. But he's definitely not your lineup and play football. He's going to razzle dazzle it. He's going to triple option it. He's going to RPO you to death. He's going to bubble orbit scream you to death. It's just a bunch of really weird, unconventional shit. So when you play him, you have to be super patient and you got to be very disciplined. So again, I'm not saying anything negative or bad. I think he's a good player. I think he's got a full season under his belt. He's familiar with his team, nice familiar with the league, and he rebuilt them. I still think it's your division, but I'm interested to see what he's going to do. AFC East, Crack is much more improved this year than in any other Madden I've seen, so it's good to see him competing. Strong, I just don't see Strong being a factor. I don't think he's been active. I don't know if he's going to be active because he wasn't active. I think there was some personnel moves made on his team that maybe is to his detriment because he wasn't at the helm to sign people, etc. So I don't see him being a player. It's going to come down to Donjo and Cletus. I really think Donjo really pushed his chips into the table with all of these signings, and I think he's really looking to make a competitive run at Cletus. I still think it's Cletus' division to lose. Donjo, the one thing I'll tell you is this. Being in the division with somebody like Cletus, I know can be frustrating. I think the key to you really pushing Cletus and competing is to not lose your mental edge. Because I used to say the same thing about Strong all the time. Strong to go outside the division and be highly competitive with everybody else. And people will be like, well, I don't get why he doesn't win that division. And I would say this all the time on this show. Because Cletus is in his head. That's why. Like, if you're 0, let's say, now he wasn't 0, but I'm just going to make an example. If you're 0-30 against somebody, inevitably going into that game, you have already accepted you're probably going to lose. So the very first time something bad happens to you, you mentally check out. And when you mentally check out against a guy like Cletus, nothing good's going to happen. So the key to being in a division with a guy like Cletus or a guy like you, a guy like Candyman, you have to be mentally tough. You have to understand there's going to be some adversity. You have to understand that you got to play a clean game, but you can't get down on yourself the first time something bad happens and get that, here we go again type mentality. You have to play your game, Donjo. So no matter what you do, don't press, don't panic, and don't kind of throw your hands up in the air because, hey, you threw that first pick to start the game off. You have to play your game. I still think it's Cletus' division. I think Donjo is a little more focused this season. I think he's built that team up, and I think he's really looking to compete and really push. Last but not least, the AFC North, I still think it's Pie's division. I want to give you and Pie a little bit of credit in this regard for you guys to have the amount of talent you had. I knew both of y'all was bullshitting yourselves if y'all thought that y'all wasn't going to have to lose some people. But I think you and Pie have done a marvelous job of juggling your cap and being real strategic with who stays and who goes. You guys have had some well-placed trades. You guys have had some well-placed signings. You guys, for the most part, have done an awesome job, I think, of keeping your core together and still keeping all of that big-name talent there. And I really give you guys super-duper props.
Yo,
I keep that together.
I only had $900,000 cap penalty even this season after franchise tagging Watson for $32 million. And the only reason why I got a $2 million cap hit now because I cut a guy to sign Big Ben as a backup. Another big name.
Well, that's why I'm giving you guys props because everybody's kind of been sitting around going, okay, wait for it. There's going to be a wholesale fire sale over here. There's going to be a dumpster fire over there. Nope. You guys have kept it together. I mean, look, even if you or him lose a player or two, considering how much talent you guys have over there, I mean, if you lost one superstar,
I lost JJ.
Right, but what I'm saying, but you lost him, but you still have Jadeveon, and you still have Justin Reed, and you still have D Hop, you still have Fuller, you still have Tariq, you still have Deshaun. So, I mean, yeah, that's to be expected. You're going to lose one, but overall, you guys still have had to really do a hell of a job to keep what you have together. So, real good job to you and him, like super duper GM job to you and him. Well, you know me, I'm gonna give it up where he's doing it. Like everybody couldn't keep that together the way you and him did. Like you have to be shrewd and you have to have good long-term vision, but enough short-term vision mixed in, and you can't be married to certain shit. You got to be real business-minded. So I know what it takes to keep that type of shit together.
It's hard. I mean, it's tough.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have, like not just anybody can. If you gave There's 32 owners in this league. If you gave 20 other people that same team of situation, it'd be a dumpster fire. There's probably about a good 12 to 15 cap-oriented people here that have enough gumption, I think, to keep that together the way you and him did. That's why I'm definitely giving you guys your credit for that. Back to his division, I do think this is the year. I do think Bill makes a nice stride this year. I don't think it's going to be enough to overtake Paya. I think Prime makes a nice stride this year because I like what he's been doing, and he's steadily coming. But I don't think it's enough to take on Paya. Rel is the wild card. I think it's still Paya's division. I think Rel can push Paya, but it's weird, right? Because everybody was kind of surprised that Rel beat Paya. And everybody was kind of like, whoa, that means Rel's here. Yeah, no. That's a divisional opponent. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you see somebody consistently, sooner or later, they're going to get some. Cowboys gets me every once in a while. Granted, the wins in my favor over him are so much overwhelmingly one-sided in my factor, but he can get me from time to time because of the familiarity. So you can't necessarily look at the one-off against Paya and go, hey, you know, he's familiar with him. That being said, I like what all three of them are doing. I just don't think they have enough firepower to take Paya down. And I also really like the way Paya is playing. And I think that run toward the end of the year gave him a lot of confidence. So that's my take on the AFC. Basically, it kind of, the more things change, the more it stays the same. I still have Gates winning that division. I still have Cletus winning his. I still have Candy winning his. I still have Paya. That's the same as season 2. It's the same as season 1.
Yeah.
Hey, I do have something that Paya actually hit me up and asked me. He wanted to talk. He wanted me to bring up in an owner's box, which is pretty cool because we were trying to get him there. Give me 1 second. Okay. I told him I'd bring it up for him the next time. Okay, so I'm reading this directly from him. I have a good topic for the next owner's box. I'd like you and Gates to talk about what makes a team good and what they all have in common. Like, what's the common thread in all of the teams you see that are good, and what the most important status for maintaining a good record. Now, here's Paya's observation. Paya stated, I was looking over at the stats and noticed the top 8 teams in the league win record also have the best turnover differential. And I've also noticed that the bottom 10 teams in turnover differential all have losing records. The one team in the top 10 with turnover differential that has a winning record is the Cards at 4-5, but even 4-5 is not a winning record. So in so many words, to hardboil what he's asking, what is the common thread that we've noticed that separates the good teams from the bad teams? Are there things that the teams share in common? And then his point is he feels the turnover differential has a lot to do with that. He feels the teams with the best turnover differential in their favor have the best records. The teams with the worst turnover differential have the worst records. What are your thoughts, Gates?
I think it's two things, right? That we all have in common. We know it. We know who we are. We protected our schemes, which, speaks to the turnover thing, speaks to the players that we grab, speaks to the GM manager. It just sums it all up, right? Like we all know our strengths, our weaknesses, and we play to that, in my opinion. Like you said, you already broke my team. Like, I'm gonna pass gun heavy. Kenny's gonna come out run first. C's gonna pass first. Pie's gonna pass first. Dre's gonna run first. Leopard can't change his spots. Ain't that how the saying goes? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. And us knowing that we don't. If we're boxers, we don't come out because the person we face against is a brawler. We're not gonna come out and brawl. We might mix it up a little bit, but we're not gonna change our whole style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. What are your thoughts?
I think there are a lot of different things that go into it because I think everything you're saying is right. And I think when you couple with what you're saying, what Pie's saying, that's right. But ultimately, I think the best way I can sum it up, Gates, is your number one word that me and you have always talked about forever, consistency. Because there's a lot of things that go into it, right? I'm going to combine everything you and him said and put it under that consistency banner. You know who you are, so you consistently look to make moves to build your team in a manner that's complimenting for how you want to play. Like we just talked about the great job you and him did of maintaining your cap. No matter what happens, I know damn well you'll let a JJ Watt go before you let a D Hop or Fuller go. Because me knowing you go as your passing offense goes, it's more important to you to have the passing game intact than to have a dude that can come off the edge. So when you make moves and actions and decisions, they're going to be consistent with that ideology. So consistently doing a good job in the offseason with your drafts and free agency, knowing who you are, like you just said, 100%, and staying true to that and sticking to your scheme, knowing your personnel. And I do agree with what he said about turnovers. Like at the end of the day, it was an insane stat. I'll use the Redskins because I noticed this. At one point in time, Dwayne Haskins was up like amongst the top 5 in passing, but led the league in interceptions. It was super weird, and that's why I remember it so much. Like Dwayne Haskins had some shit like 50 interceptions, but he also had like 4,000 or 5,000 yards passing and like 30-something touchdowns. So if you look at it, he backslid from season 1, but you could probably directly say a lot of that had to do with the amount of picks. Like, I get Haskins is a newer quarterback. He had to build him up because I'm going through the same growing pains with Daniel Jones. But I've always said this, right? Like, I'm going to use you for an example. And we just played a really tight game in the USFL playoffs, me and you. Game that could have went either way. So I look at it like this. Going into a game, our skill sets are pretty similar in terms of we play pretty similar, and we're pretty much around the same level on a skill level. So you can go into the game with a 50-50 pick-em mentality. However, if I have 3 turnovers in that game, but I'm saying everything's equal, but I give you 3 extra possessions, in all likelihood, that's not a good recipe for me to win that game. I can't give you 3 extra possessions. And that's what I try to tell people about turnovers. If you throw 3 picks and you have 1 fumble in the game, in an entire game that lasts an hour with 4 quarters, 8-minute quarters, let's say Gates has the ball 11 times and ties the ball 11 times. But now let's go ahead and add 1 fumble and 3 picks into it. Gates has the ball 15 times and I have it 11. That's probably a bit too much for me to overcome.
Yeah, that's potentially 28 points, 21 points. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, look at how it flips the field position. And it's hard enough to stop Gates for 11 drives. Now I'm going to ask my defense to stop him for 15. And in some of the scenarios, give you ideal field position. That's not a recipe to win.
Yeah.
Like, so going back to what Pai was saying, Think about the people who you I'll use Candy as a perfect example. That's a perfect example. How many turnovers do you actually see him give up?
One.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to beat themselves. That's why I really agree with that one thing Pius said. They're not. You're going to have to take the game from them. It's like that. You love boxing. Hey, man, when you fight the champ, bro, you can't let that shit go to the cards. You got to knock them out.
Sure.
Like, if you just want to hang around and try to outpoint him and hope you get a decision in Vegas against the champ, you might as well piss in the wind. Like, a Candy is not going to beat himself. You got to go in there and flat out beat him. You got to outplay him. You got to out execute him. He's not giving you four extra possessions.
Yeah. I can't, you hit that right on the head. Can we do week 1 predictions before we get out of here? Because we're coming up on 2 hours.
Yeah.
Give me a second here. I'll share the screen. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Barely. If you could enlarge it, I'd appreciate it. Also, I'd put the glasses back on.
There you go. That better?
That wasn't as good as it's going to get for you, so hold on a sec. Go to Professor Ty mode. All right.
I mean, I don't expect you to pick your game.
I think that's going to be a really good game, though. Like, when I seen that, I'm like, Normally, everybody, no matter who you are, they're always pretty excited for the first game of the season. I know he's kind of been in and out. I know he doesn't have Tyreek, and it's kind of not the same team. I like the pieces I have.
He doesn't have Tyreek Hill?
Man, huh?
He doesn't have Tyreek Hill?
I don't hear you.
He doesn't have his receiver no more?
I want to say Tyreek Hill is somewhere else.
Oh,
I don't know, though. I got to look.
Okay.
I don't think he has Tyreek no more.
Okay. Well, I'm going with you then.
So, yeah.
I mean, Mahomes and no 99 speed. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
I just think that's going to be a real good game. And he could have Hill. Maybe I'm mistaken, but any which way you look at it, I think that's going to be a good game.
Okay. Patriots and Saints?
You know what? I really feel like that's the Saints game, but I feel like these are two of the most inconsistent guys there are. And I don't mean inconsistent in terms of their gameplay. Are they going to play or not? And Kurt's just as bad. Is he going to play? I don't know. If he plays, he should win. I don't think Strong's going to play. But even if he did, I would go with Saints.
Yeah. I'll go with that. I can agree with that. Panthers and the Bills?
I think that's going to be a good game. I think they both play kind of somewhat similar. I think Ronnie's a little more run-focused than Croc, but they both play solid defense. It may not look spectacular what they do, but it's effective. I'm going to go with Carolina. I think that Ronnie can make more plays on both sides of the ball, but it'll be closer than people think.
I'm going to go with Crack. Seen some improvements. I think he built his team late. I think him getting Cam Newton kind of helped. I think Cam is still there, right? He didn't leave yet. Right? He didn't retire.
Who?
Cam Newton. He's still around, right?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, so I think that's enough. I think he has enough to beat Ronnie. It's still his first week one. Set the tone and flex.
You know what, man? Flex has been one of the most low-key people in the league this year. I think he made playoffs both seasons. He rarely says anything in the chat, but he shows up and he plays. And unfortunately, I don't think Tone has it figured out yet. The one thing I think in Tone's favor is he's super familiar with Flex. They're in multiple leagues together. They played each other a ton of times. They go with each other outside the game. So that familiarity, I think, is in Tone's favor, but I can't see Seahawks losing. He's just been too solid this Madden so far.
Tone is in my position. We're going with the Seahawks. And I ain't even breaking the game down. It's just going against you.
Ooh, damn, some good games week 1. Wow. You know what?
I'm going Ravens. I'm going Ravens because I think Bill's going to be trigger happy. Got this new quarterback. And he's just going to be coming out gunslinging and thinking this new guy is going to come and dominate. Well, Rel does what he wants to do. And I'm going Rel.
I'm going to go Rel too. I'm going to go Ravens too. I think that's going to be another good game. And again, these are two guys that are super familiar with each other. I do agree with what you said. And sometimes whether that new quarterback's a stud or not, until you get your bearings and get their throw motion down and get that familiarity with where they're going to throw the ball and where it's going to go, I think there may be some errant plays that Bill can't account for with that new QB. I think Rel's locked in his scheme and his personnel, and I like what he's doing and how he's doing it, and I think he's just going to be solid. And I think, just like you said, that Bill might have some hiccups with the new guy, so I'm going Rel.
Cool. Well, you got Vikings or
another good game. Another good game. Since he really wants to ground and pound, I think Vikings' run defense is adequate, and I think he's got enough to take down Prime.
I'm gonna go with Vikings. I think that he still got that good hit stick. I don't know if Prime's ready for that type of action. Because again, man, if you don't have the right players, man, they're gonna give that ball up. So we just talked about turnovers. So I'm going with the Vikings. I think his defense and hit stick will get him the edge over in that game.
Yeah.
Can't talk about that.
Well, what I think is one of these teams is going to get a forced win, and the other one's going to get a forced loss.
Right,
we'll see.
Lions and Bears. Oh my, who you got?
Ooh wee. That's going to be a tough game. I really like what Boone's been doing and how he's been playing. I feel like he's really locked in and focused. I know Niji is going to be feeling real good about himself and the team he put together. Boone did say something to him that I kind of agree with. He said, hey, man, you got a great offense. You better worry about that D. And Niji told him in the chat, yeah, I'm good. But in looking over that D roster, I'm not seeing the names there necessarily. The game's going to come down to whether or not Boone's secondary could contain the Lions offense. I'm going to give Boone the edge in that one. I'm going to give Boone that game.
Yeah, me too. But Boone has a hole in his defense. That's my guy. He has a hole in his defense that he doesn't want to recognize. And I think it's Eddie Jackson. I think it's the safeties. His safeties.
You said you think it's Eddie Jackson?
Yeah. He's the X factor, but he's not the guy who's going to aggressively attack the ball. He's the guy who's like catches the like this is what I mean. Like Clowney, for example, won't jump and try to intercept the ball, no matter what I do. What he'll do is he'll let a guy catch it and then hit the ball out their hand or hit him and then make him drop the ball. Eddie Jackson's kind of the same way. Like they're like playmakers. Even though they might have Eddie Jackson might have all that trait, he's still like a playmaker. He's not like a Ed Reed style, Earl Thomas style game changer, if that makes sense. And HaHa Dix.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and HaHa Dix he's just a name. So I feel like if the Lions can attack them safeties, he should be able to, sneak one in. But I'm gonna go with Boone, just because the Lions team is new, he needs to figure out, their scheme and all that with this new team. Can they run that style of offense? I'm gonna go with Boone. John the Bullet over Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going with John the Bullet. Not a little breakdown. Trick's not happy to be in Atlanta. I think his gameplay is going to reflect that. Like when you're not pumped to play with your team, it's so easy to mentally not be in it, and you need to be on point against John the Bullet. The Rams win that.
For sure. Packers and Cardinals.
What a great slate of games this week. We'll be watching a lot of these. I know Drew probably really, really wants to get off to a good start. The last 2 seasons kind of quite haven't went the way he wants. And so it's important to kind of jump out the gate, especially in how competitive that division is. hard to call this because I don't know. Tick's inconsistent with his gameplay, not his actual gameplay, but whether or not he's going to play. So I don't know if he plays. You know, if he plays, I give him the edge. He hasn't been the same Tick that we used to, but it's season 3 too, so that could turn around. If Tick plays, I give Tick the edge.
I feel like Tick is tougher. The last Madden that I played him in this Madden. I mean, he has the players, but I didn't really. When we played, it wasn't nothing spectacular. Let's say as far as how tough as he was, and that could be just due to his schedule, him not really putting in the time and stuff like that. I like to see the Cardinals win, man. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals with this one. It'd be nice to see Drew get an early win. Hopefully, Kyler Murray can stay healthy this season. If he can stay healthy, I think he has a whole different team. So. Raiders and Redskins. No way Chuck loses this game, in my opinion.
I agree. If anything, not only does he not lose it, this is a type of game that really kind of can catapult your damn season. You get off to a really good first win. Everybody's clicking. You get your stats up, momentum up early. This is one of the games that can propel you. But yeah, Truck. No way Truck loses that game.
Okay. I said something earlier in the chat, right?
Huh?
I said something earlier in the chat, and I'm surprised nobody really didn't say anything about it. I believe with the X Factor abilities, Doc has one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And what I mean by that is he has dead eye, inside, which is perfect accuracy inside the numbers, and he throws inside the numbers. Then he has the other one where he's unpressured. On any unpressured throws, as long as his feet are settled, he has perfect accuracy. He has homer, which allows him, when he's at home, to get into the zone easily. And when he's in the zone, he has something called pro reads. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but pro reads is the one that he has. It highlights the guy who's open.
Yep.
I mean, and it's so crazy. When I first seen it, Boone had it in UG. He called me when he had it. And I was like, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah, with Brady.
Bro, the icon on this guy gets so big and does this on your screen. I mean, a blind man. My little girl's 3. She could probably throw to that receiver. It's so wide open and it's so obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like with that X Factor ability, you can't make a wrong read because all you have to do is drop back and wait for the icon to blow up. And then the fact that he has these perfect pass abilities, all he has to do is protect this guy. He should have a great year. Me saying that, I should expect big things from Doc, and I'm going with Doc over Moondog.
You know what's funny? Moondog kind of, even when he's been a little better than people expect, it's because he's got off to good starts. It's just he can never maintain it. I'm curious because I don't know what either team did in free agency or draft wise. Like I know from talking to Doc, this morning he felt like he had a really bad draft. I don't know if free agency wise he did anything, and I don't know. Cowboys said he had 3 X factors, but I don't think that's true. Yeah, I don't think he drafted 3 X factors at all. I think he may have drafted maybe 3 superstars, which I even doubt that. I think he's looking at something incorrectly, but it sounded like he thought he had a really good draft.
Okay.
Go Moondog, because he plays a very irritating style of game. He slows everything down. He's going to run on first down. He's going to run on second down. He's going to run on third down. Repeat. Put it on rinse. If he has to pass, he's coming out strong close. And he's going to mesh the shit out of you. It's hard to really turn him over and do shit against that. You just got to shut his run down. If you shut his run down, he's kind of up the creek. But if you allow Zeke to kind of be Zeke, it's going to be a long one.
Okay. Eagles and Bucks. Does the Eagles have enough to sneak a win here?
No. And I couldn't be happier to see that matchup game 1. The Giants hat is on now. Yeah.
I think
that's what I'm talking about.
I think Noah's going to put up some points, but he's not going to be able to stop the Bucks defense. And Bucks has the same abilities as Doc's quarterback, except he has Bazooka, and he arguably has the best quarterback also in the league based on, with abilities and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I also said that earlier, but yeah, Bucks for sure.
Woo! I really like what Don Joe did on the roster rebuild. I just played him in pregame season 1. It was fun.
Who won that game?
He did 21-7. Our backup quarterbacks were atrocious. Goodness gracious, me and him laughed about that. I want to say our backup quarterbacks, forget it. He's another one that's going to do a lot of smoke and mirror stuff with a lot of the new stuff I've seen him doing. A lot of auto in and out of multiple formations and trying to get matchups that he prefers. He wants to ground and pound with Larry Rose. I like what I've seen him doing on defense. The one thing I think that may work to his detriment, and it's why I'm going to go with Cletus, is if you can stop Rose. I didn't see enough in his passing game. Granted, he had the backup quarterback in there too, but Don Joe's going to go as Larry Rose goes, and I think that Larry Rose is going to do good things, but if Cletus can slow him down, which I think he can, I don't know that Don Joe has enough passing offense yet. I'm going with the Jets.
I'm going to go with the Jets only because I think Don Joe can beat Cletus, but is he mentally tough like you said? Because Cletus is going to treat this game like a playoff game.
Yep.
Don Joe going to treat this game as, it's just week 1.
Yes. You hit it right on the head.
And that's not the mentality you got to have.
Well, remember, I opened this whole thing up by talking about Don Joe can win that division, but he mentally has to be locked in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going with Cletus.
Yeah, someone. Ooh-wee. Woo! Oh. Damn, another good game. Super Bowl rematch.
You already know that time I'm on. Exactly. I need that back, though. I need that win back. I need that back.
You know what?
Ain't no Richard Sherman. I don't care what he got, yo. I'm trying to put up 50 on him.
I feel like this has been like the best week 1 slate of games like I've ever seen in our league. And it's going into season 3. You know what? I am going to go with Dre, and I'm going to tell you why. It goes back to what you said about the way you guys like to play. You're a pass first guy. Dre is one of the harder people to consistently pass on. Like, can you get a big play here and there? Yeah, but you can't consistently keep long drives going against him predominantly by passing. He's real physical, and you don't run the rock enough to help extend them drives. The counter to that, though, Dre doesn't really throw the ball a lot. So it's real simple. If you can get ahead in that game, it's going to be hard for Dre to come back because he wants to run and run and run. And when you're behind, you can't necessarily do that. That being said, he's really good at stopping the pass. I'm going to give him the edge because I think the styles that you two guys play favors him.
When we talked about it at the Super Bowl, it's a certain way that you have to play, and I hate to play that way.
It's real nasty.
It's boring. Yeah, it's not flashy. It's football 101, right? And I understand and I know that. As I tried to enforce my will in the Super Bowl, and it cost me the Super Bowl. So knowing that, I'm gonna just play the way that I know that I gotta play. And that, we'll see what happens at the end of week 1.
Now, if we do that, that could be the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
You're right. Because we talked about it after you lost him. I said, man, I played Dre a lot.
I know.
Especially in big games, there's a certain way you got to play him. You're not.
Yeah.
And, I've always had high-scoring offenses. He won't give you that. Yeah. You're going to have to be consistent, take what's underneath, and grind shit out.
Sure. It's an ugly game, but I'll do it. Yeah. And he has a defensive line to make it. Like, he has the defensive line to make you play that way because their block shit is crazy.
Yeah.
So, I get it.
Oh, wow. Oh, there's some games. I'm going to give Candy the edge. I really like the way Pie's playing in Cleveland, and they're on the roll. But these guys just played. Again, Candy's not going to beat himself. Paya's playing super well, but Paya, can and will give you one from time to time or allows frustrations to overcome them. I'm going to go with Candy.
Is Paya going to play this game like it's the playoffs, or Paya going to play this game like week 1? That's the question, right? Same question like Don Joe. So I already know how Candyman coming. He not going to switch up. He going to play his game. The question is, what Paya we going to see? I know Paya wants this rematch. He's been dying for it. He's been talking about it. He even said it. That's the first thing he said. I got my week 1 scheduled rematch. I think Candy has Dak Prescott, right? Hence question mark or whatever. I don't know what you guys are going to do with that.
Asterisk, question mark. To be continued.
No doubt.
For how long?
It don't matter. It don't matter the quarterback. Because Candy going to run the ball. Does he still got Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, I know he was joking about putting him on the block because he always gets hurt. But Austin Eckler has shown and proved that, hey, he can still run the same way he wants to run. But he still has Gordon, I believe.
But Eckler doesn't have one thing that Melvin Gordon has. Jukebox.
Yeah.
So that is a game changer. And
what's funny? I've always said the thing that makes Gordon so good isn't necessarily a jukebox. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. It's that X factor ability that improves the blocking of his own.
Yeah.
Candy to run the way he wants to run because Eckler's pretty shifty too. Yeah. But that lineman all of a sudden it would pull for Gordon. It's not going to pull for Eckler. There's your difference.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go with Candy.
Yeah, me too. So let me ask you this: what a great slate of games. What's your game of the week? Or do you go with 2 games of the week because it's week 1, and there's so many stacked games? There are so many good ones here.
This is the best week of Madden I've ever seen.
That's what I just said. Wow. Like, what's your game of the week?
I go Jets Dolphins. I go Jets Dolphins because that can really set the tone. If Donjo wins that, he can set the tone for the division. He wins that first game, and it forces Cletus to place. You know what happens. It's like when Strong beats him. You get a different version of him. But if he comes and just dominates and puts up another 50-60 on Donjo, his mind says cruise control. He got it all the way. That's my game of the week.
My game of the week is you and Dre. It's a Super Bowl rematch from game 1. It's one of the few interconference games, AFC, NFC, on the schedule, and it's 2 of the premier teams. Both guys have been in the playoffs both years. Both guys are coming off disappointing playoff runs, but both guys have a Super Bowl appearance under their belt from season 1. And you still got a loaded team, and Dre still has a pretty good team, and he still does what he likes to do. I clearly think that there's a lot of great games, but to me, if I had to pick one, that's the game, Texans-Niners.
Okay.
Not only that, go back to what you just said about the divisions. You know what? As tough as that NFC West is, I forgot who John McBull is playing, but we felt that was a game for him. We felt that Flex has his game over set the tone. For once, Dre starting out possibly on one he loses to you in that division. There's a lot on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Dre's always been ahead, and everybody's always been chasing him. What did my boy Ethan Hawke say in training today? Yeah, it ain't so fun when the Rabbits got the gun, huh?
Yeah, and the Bucks.
What happened? You got to chase.
Yeah, and the Bucks just chimed in and said he needs me to win. So.
That he needs what?
He needs me to win.
I need Case to win. Yes. Right. Yeah. You're already looking at that playoff season.
All right, it's gonna be a tough game. I ain't gonna come in there and think it's gonna be an easy game, but it's gonna be a tough one. It'll be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of good games, but it's a lot of good games for this week 1 for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last play of the game. Anything?
No, sir. Really good show. We touched on a lot of different topics here. I don't think I can speak on anything that we haven't already spoken on. I think it's going to be a fantastic season. Stay tuned for all of those votes, and stay tuned for that vote. Hit the chat and stay tuned for all of the different addendums to rules. I will say this. Actually, I do have a last play of the game, especially because we said there's going to be some new verbiage things introduced. Players, we're all grown men here. We have to take personal responsibility for our own shit. There's a lot of times somebody breaks a rule, and the first thing they want to say is, I didn't know. Hey, there's an old saying, ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. Like, at the end of the day, I spend my time to go over rules changes in the chat. The rules are posted on Daddy League. Yeah, I get it. When I buy a car, I don't read the owner's manual. I get it. I just want to drive that shit. At the same time, it ain't the worst thing in the world, especially in the off season before you start a new season, to briefly go over the rules. Because the excuse can't be when you break rules, I didn't know. Read the shits. They're veterans in this league. It was like that one time, not to get on you, you never break rules. And I forgot what happened. Something happened and I didn't know. And the first thing I'm thinking is, how long you been here, bro? How long you been in this league?
Yeah,
Come on, man.
it was. You know what's funny? When I did it, I was like, because I swear I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to die. I thought he was gonna fall in it, and so he just dove with the cocky. John was like, they're gonna get me. Somebody's gonna tag me. You know what I'm saying? That was it.
Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you something, and I said this shit before. I don't think nobody should be surprised at this point. I don't care what you do in this league, somebody is always watching. And trust me when I tell you, a lot of times I haven't even got to see the game. Trust me when I tell you, there's somebody out there that's gonna DM one of us and go, hey man, you know, you might want to check this game out right here. Look at this exact clip right here, man. So-and-so did so-and-so. Or I thought we couldn't do this, or how come he got to do this? And then when that shit comes to us, like the Charlie situation, hey man, I thought we can't bid on people in the yellow. So now my back's against the wall because when everybody else has done that, they've had to drop that player. So how can I sit here if I'm about what's fair and justify, well, you know, I talked to him, because now everybody else that had to drop a player, they got a legit right to feel some type of way. Yeah. The whole I didn't know. I mean, look, I get accused a lot of the admin sometimes of being the one sometimes that's a little more lenient and will give passes. But I look at everything in perspective. If you've got a guy like Fear Tonight, that's Bobby, the Jags, you know, last year it was his first season in, and maybe, you know, he did something he should have did. I can understand giving that dude a break. I can't justify giving veterans that's been in the league years a break. Yeah, like read the damn rules from time to time. Like, you not knowing is not a justification for you shouldn't be penalized. You should know.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but that's my last play of the game. Yours, sir?
I just want people to be consistent, man. Like we always talk about. I just want this year 3. I want how Madden's setting up these matchups. I want them to be just tough games like that every week, like that.
It's gonna be such a good season, I think. Hey, man, and I will say this too. Another last word about you. Yeah, ideally, we in Cletus, we love to do the show every single. I mean, me and Cletus, me and you, Gates, would love to do the show once a week. Yeah, we love that. I will say every single time I do the show, the reason they go long is because I genuinely enjoy doing them with you, and they're always fun, and the conversations are good, and we get into good topics about a bunch of stuff. So I do enjoy the combination of me and you both, like, doing these shows, even if they're not every week. Whenever we do them, they're always good, which is why the people ask for more.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get good. Yeah, you know, it's like you said, like earlier with the gift and the curse. Like, we say certain things.
Yeah.
The camera go off. It's these messages, but I was like, yo, why don't you just jump on the next one and we just address it? You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, there's been a time or two, low key, man. I forgot who I was telling this to. Oh, it might have been Bucks, Corey. I was telling them, man, sometimes, man, because I don't want to deal with it, I've literally thought a time or two going, you know what, man, I'm good, Gates, man. Like I'm done, man. You find another co-host, brother. And it has nothing to do with you. I just don't, in addition to playing my games and wearing the admin hat and having a life, sometimes I don't want that shit. I don't need that smoke. You know what I'm saying? I just want to play my games. Sometimes I wish I could be candid. Just come in, play my games, not say nothing, be under the radar, and just do what I do. But I'm not built like that. I'm always in the limelight from one way or another. But then when I think about that, I'm like, dude, to pull my boy Cameron, whenever I think that, I'm like, Ty, pull your skirt up, B. People have said much worse shit to you than that. Like, that's the nature of the beast, dude. You can't handle somebody questioning your thing. That's the nature of the beast, man. Suck it up, buttercup, and keep pushing. That's why I don't go nowhere. I'm always here. And I'm still going to say what I say and deal with the fallout. And that's one thing I like about you. And I've told you that. And I give you a ton of credit for it. Your stand-up. That's why literally after your loss to Paya, first thing I said, man, Gates, props, brother. Class act.
Yeah.
It is hard after any game, let alone the last game of the season, a playoff game, when you think you got the team and the tools to lose and come out and go good game and not make, you didn't make no excuses. You didn't say you got Madden. You didn't do none of that bullshit. You just said good game, man. I respect that because you talk your shit, but whenever anybody's ever called you, you've always been accountable, brother. You ain't never ran from no comment, no controversy, nothing. You're the first person to say, my bad, you was right, I was wrong. Respect, brother. I appreciate the way you did it.
Appreciate that. Just how I was raised, man. I don't know. Just how I just come from that era. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
You know, like I said, man, the platform is here. I would love people to say whatever they feel. You guys can address it or see me on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's something you ain't said in a while. That used to be the thing. See me on the field.
On the field.
You're always good every Madden for saying, see me on the field. I'm an X Factor in life. I see the Super Bowl. Get it together. Yeah. You got some classics. And that's something we didn't bring up to get it together list, but I'm fine with not going over this season. Let's give
week one, right? The week one, right?
Man. Let's not start out with negativity talking about, hey, man, get it together, and ain't nobody play game one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Buck said something real quick. He said, Gates will slide in your DM and get on your head.
Nah, lots of Gates slide in your DM and get on your head.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Hey, you know what? Since we on this topic, and since we on this topic, something that's bothering me, but it always bothers me when it happens. So I really try not to do it to nobody else. I played the Vikings last season, and I beat them. And we have a chat for all the Cali Connect chat, me and Vikes and Bucks and Jacksonville, because we all live right around each other, around the corner, basically. Then he hopped in the chat and he said, hey, man, like, you know, good game, but I kind of got maddened and yada, yada, yada. He gave me all of the reasons why he lost the game as opposed to why I won the game. And I was offended by that shit. I'm going to keep it real. Because when I looked at the stats in the game, I already knew him. I held dude to under 200 yards of offense. Stopped this, shut down the run game, locked him up in the pass game, and I won the game. And this thing to me was he had some pass dropped in the first quarter. Man, you know, I couldn't get no love. Remember that pass in the first quarter? It was the first quarter, bro. Like, you lost, bro. I know what it was. He slept on me and didn't feel as if I should beat him. So as opposed to him accepting I beat him, it was impossible for him to accept I beat him. The game, he lost because of the game. Why I'm bringing all this up is I always go on this rant every Madden. Listen, man, there are legitimate times when people have unfortunate things in the game happen, and you can clearly tell, man, they're kind of getting the short end of the stick. At the same time, we've all benefited from it both ways. Like, how many times have you heard anybody go, hey, man, I won the game, but I shouldn't have won the game. I had a bunch of shit going my way. You never hear nobody say that. So why is it that always comes up when people lose? Like, take your L, man. Man up. We all lose. It happens. If you got legitimately Madden, that's one thing. But be a good sport, man. Give your opponent a good game. Stop giving a bunch of excuses for why you should have won, but you didn't win. Hey, every once in a blue moon, I get it. But that ain't every game. Sometimes you just lost, bro. You just lost. And guess what? Just because somebody beats you, it doesn't mean they're better than you. And that's what I think twists people's head up. You can lose to somebody and be better than them. It happens. So don't take losing to somebody like, I can't believe I lost to him. I'm better than him. Yeah, but it's a matchup thing. It's a style thing.
Yeah. One call, you called this offense, he called this defense. It could be the game changer. It's funny that the Bucs said that too, because after he lost the Super Bowl, I hated it. As soon as the game's over, it's like, yo, let it go. The game is over. I'm gonna get right back to work. I already know what it feel like. You feel like you can let that one get away from you.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, no need to harp on that. On to the next year, because I know what that's like. Yeah.
Hey man, you know who you look like to me right now, man, with the little fro, the mustache.
Who's that? Oh man.
Looking like Kay Bryant right now, man. I remember when you used to have your hair cut real low, people used to call you Stephen A, but I'm like, now with the fro right now, you looking like Kobe.
Sure. Yeah, man, I just want to see them be competitive. I'm always wanting to see teams that don't normally win get some wins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, cause I don't want it to always seem like it's top heavy, like, oh, it's the same guys every year. I mean, we put the work in, though. It ain't like I'm not out here just randomly grabbing a joystick and just winning. I'm practicing, running practices all the time. So, putting the work in. So, that's really my last play of the game, man. Consistency and people perfecting their scheme. So,
yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, I guess until the next one, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm already getting the hard stairs.
No, that was a good show. We ran long enough, man. That should be enough to satiate everybody's appetite for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So appreciate it. You jumping in.
Hopefully everybody enjoys season 3. I do genuinely wish everybody well. Like to see some, if like Gates said, be nice to see some people step up and take it to the next level and change the top of the order and the lineups and make it competitive. So good luck to everybody.
Definitely. And that being said, USFL, the Owners Box, man, we signing off.
Late.
All right.